the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a US
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another eclectic edition of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week.
Idiot.
I am your host, the infallible Phil Marks. That's Phil S. Marks.
You fucking Mark!
And ladies and germs, we are here for another hashtag DMDMW this week. Dave does Dynamite. He was there. There's a poll in the chat. Do you guys think he got a 30% discount, Bryan? Or was it the 5-star membership deal? Or did he just get free tickets? You guys let me know. Hit like, hit subscribe, rate this thing 5 stars. You guys can super chat in, become a member for 99 cents, patreon.com/Pro Wrestle Times for bonus episodes of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. And yeah, Dave does Dynamite this week also. Dave had one of the most epic WWE meltdowns of all time, and he tries to sell everybody on AEW for some reason using their past TV deal. So all of that and more, ladies and germs, get some flutes in the chat because it is time for everybody's favorite segment. So nice it turned into its own weekly show, and it is called Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. We need flutes in the chat, even the sad flutes in the chat. He had a crazy ass meltdown. We got to cover this. Okay, you guys ready? And of course, it's featuring Trying Bryan. So this week was a fun one with Dave Meltzer. Unca Dave, Daddy Dave, as Tone calls him. He completely lost his shit. And he completely melted down over WWE. He went nuts trying to like sell AEW on old shit, like old things you could flex, I guess, like 2-3 years ago. I don't know. And he also went to AEW Dynamite. So we're going to get into all of that. Let's just start right here. And Dave Meltzer, he was just nut chugging for AEW. And he's like trying to sell it. And he's trying to sell everybody on the game of AEW. And he keeps getting owned by people left, right, and center. And one of the things he did that was just insane was write these paragraph-long breaking down TV deals, talking about 180 million that AEW brought in when I thought the TV deal was upwards 185 million and blah, blah, blah. You know, just talking out of his ass. And so we're just going to start through all of the AEW pitching and selling and arguing about being a paid shill for AEW and all of that. We're going to start with that. So Dave Meltzer responds to this guy, front row Bryan, another Bryan. Bryan's trigger him like Bryan Alvarez gets triggered by NXT. So Meltzer goes, Bryan. Well, let's actually read what front row Bryan had to say first. So AEW fans and their paid media are very low IQ. These people are terrible. Do not allow them around your children. Dave Meltzer goes, Bryan, once you use the term, paid media, it's, accept an admission that you've thrown in the towel on the logic. And Bryan, here's the problem, Dave. You get phone calls from Tony Khan. You're front row at Dynamite. That's fine. Bryan Alvarez goes to Raw. He's sitting in the 75th row. Okay? You think he would flex some clout there being in the business and all. But no. And Dave you've thrown in the towel with logic, and you can't blame people for thinking you're paid when you get calls from Tone and you're answering Revolution media call questions, or rather asking Tone media call questions, and he's giving answers that are like similar to the shit you've peddled out there. It's just insane, man. Everybody's caught onto the patterns. Everybody knows how you guys do this fucking, oh, well, WWE wanted them. Look, they're in AEW. You know, everybody knows how you guys operate. So whether it's access, whether it's the fact that Tone is putting billions and millions behind you, what you would fantasy mark book, or how you coached him to, or inspired him, whatever word you want to use, in his youth while he was on your message board and he was standing you, dude, whatever the reason is, there's clearly a payoff in doing this for Dave, other than the attention he gets. And the reason I don't believe when people are like, he just works the trolls, he's doing it for attention, man. Maybe, but here's the thing. He does these year-round sales, like insane fire sales that we've covered, at least all throughout 2025. 26, I think enough people have criticized them where they sort of laid off them, but they did start the year with a start of the year. If you get the yearly thing, it's like you save $80 or whatever. We covered it here on DMDMW. So I don't think it's like he's just doing it for the attention. It's garnering the wrong attention. And it's not like their fucking YouTube numbers are blowed up past JD's and and their subscriptions are through the roof where they don't need to be doing 50% off sales and shit. So I don't think it's that. I think, and is he getting paid as a fucking consultant? Dave, here's the problem. There's fucking people who work in AEW and WWE who are convinced you're getting
Sometimes
fucking
in life,
paid.
you gotta
Bud,
be a
so
hoe.
he better understand that part. It's not just like, oh, you've thrown all logic. Okay, so you're insulting a bunch of fucking wrestlers who work for these places and go, is this motherfucker getting paid? Are we paying this motherfucker? Or who've worked or works or, you know, will work there. So shut the fuck up. But anyways, he says, I know the people telling you this. They are the same people telling me the same thing for 6 years and have been wrong for 6 years. Dave, are you implying that your idea of what pro wrestling is and AEW is going to be the success and it's the greatest thing ever? You've proven everyone wrong and that is your agenda. So you're just stooging what your fucking agenda is? Because you've also said that WWE's peak was over. You also said Roman wasn't going to be in Mania. You say all this shit. Take AEW out of it. And it's like you've been proven wrong more than ever about everything. And there's no other metric. We cannot determine how popular AEW is unless we go off of your invisible pay-per-view numbers that don't match up. They're an anomaly, the percentages, and the conversion rate, I guess, on like, you know, a percentage of people like NBA, they have like 10% watching on fucking streaming, right? So if Dave is trying to say AEW does 40 to 50%, like that's an anomaly as well. No one can fucking prove that AEW is doing like 40% of their audience on just streaming. So it's all just up to shit he makes up. So no, there's no proving. Like, you have to prove people right. You have to prove yourself, dude, before anybody can even be proven wrong when it comes to you. Anyways, I'm harping on this one a lot, but Dave just melting down here. They are the same people telling me the same thing. Okay, maybe someday they'll be right. Truth is, nobody knows. Then how are they wrong? Holy shit, Dave, then how are they wrong if nobody knows? But you know, because Tone tells you. So you're a fucking paid shill, or you're a co-opted shill, or you're a biased fucking shill because this is your bud. And so we can't really trust what you're saying when it comes to Tone's successes because we can't see them, and it's just all trust me, bro. So that's fucked. It can go either way. I just this week ran the numbers. Ran what numbers? In AEW, it's price. He has a supercomputer. Dave Meltzer supercomputer from the future. It's like, the original internet from the fucking 70s or whatever. You see those pictures of like 10 fucking monitors stacked up on each other with tubes fucking pumping wires. Oh man. He goes, just this week ran the numbers, and AEW as its price right now is far more cost efficient than UFC, and God knows will be more than Zuffa Boxing's monthly shows. See, again, Dave, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a fucking liar. It's cost. You mean like setting up these buildings? You mean like how much it costs for? So Dave crunches the number. Well, this is what a ring costs. He doesn't crunch the numbers of, or he's like, here's what their cheap LED stage costs. And, they're using high school kids to set the shit up, and it's cheaper this way. And blah, 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 right? They're hiring a freelance guy instead of someone on fucking salary who's doing their camera work and all this shit. So it's cheaper that way. But he's not factoring in like they're doing 2,000 people in a 10K seater or like a 20K seater. They got 4,000 people there. He's not factoring that in at all. And yes, it's more cost effective, but actually I don't believe that. That's a lie, because Zuffa Boxing and UFC operates out of the fucking Apex Center, which they built, which they fucking own, or the what is it called now? The Meta Apex or whatever the fuck it's called. And they own it, and it's set up for broadcasting. It's set up for, they can convert it to a wrestling ring, a boxing ring, an octagon. They have fucking medical staff there. It's right next to their offices and all this shit. And they have fucking and they have like a whole broadcast thing set up so they don't have to travel anywhere with shit. Tone's like traveling around. So no, I don't even believe Dave's numbers on this for 1 second. Now, maybe if you're talking like the UFC's traveling again and whatnot, and like, oh, well, the fighter pay in one night is more than a fucking Dynamite pay in one night. Okay. But overall, dude, like, and in comparison to fucking wrestling, like, why are you talking about MMA? He's trying to school Front Row Bryan on MMA, a guy who in the MMA community, people go, this guy knows his shit. If you guys don't know Front Row Bryan or Fight Oracle or whatever the fuck he used to be called, you know, this guy knows his shit just in that world on the business side of things. Okay. It's like what he's known for. And Dave is trying to like make it about Zuffa Boxing and shit. And just shut up. You know, you're going to get outclassed by a Twitter meme Bitcoin guy, you know? Anyways, so Dave says, especially since the actual big fights will go to Netflix. And so, like, what are you talking about, Dave? UFC and Zuffa Boxing. Well, what does Zuffa stream on? What is Zuffa on? Where does it air? Where does Zuffa Boxing air? Paramount Plus, yeah, because that's what UFC is with right now, Paramount. So Zuffa Boxing's with Paramount too, so it's not with Netflix. And if you're talking about Ronda and Gina Carano, like, I guess, but what the fuck does that have to do with the UFC and Zuffa Boxing, you goddamn idiot? I don't know. Maybe their discussion goes deeper and like there's context I'm missing there. I'll just give Dave the benefit of the doubt there, I guess, for that. But like, come on, man, what the fuck are you talking about? So I just wrote this. What Dave doesn't understand is that nut chugging this hard for free is even worse. And that's the bigger picture here. Like, he better be getting paid for all this sweeping he does, or else it's honestly just sad and pathetic. Like, it really fucking is. So moving along here. Here's Dave Meltzer talking about Tony Khan and fantasy mark booking about Tony Khan and what Tony Khan could do with all the money in the world, Brian, if WWE didn't exist. Khan. This is Dave's fantasy mark booking, or this is Tony's fantasy that he told Dave about. Read this shit along with me, chat, okay? Dave says, if Tony Khan was given a blank checkbook, he would have signed almost every single guy in WWE. There always would be some who would say loyal, but the percentage is low, Brian. And if the money was that much better elsewhere, almost all would go once their contracts were up. This motherfucker is sitting here saying if he had a blank checkbook, he would just sign everyone from WWE. Just automatically, they'd want to go work for that mark. And he's sitting here saying most of the wrestlers in WWE would leave WWE if they had the chance. Meanwhile, we know this is cope because look at the wrestlers who are turning down way more money, like Hobbs, who Dave tried to lie and say was getting Bryan Danielson $2 million a fucking year money, and Jade Cargill, who got offered a bunch of money, and Stephanie Vaquero, who got offered a bunch of money, and all these motherfuckers who get offered a bunch of fucking money, and then you cope and cry.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
So when Jade and Royce Keys and all these people turned down more money to go to WWE, they all would leave and go to AEW. Dave, you're fucking cooked. You're coping so hard. If Tony had a blank checkbook, yeah, me, bro, if I had a fucking blank checkbook, I'd fucking give free cancer cures and feed the homeless and feed all the starving children in the world. Like,
are you sure about that?
Why? What made you fantasy book this, Dave? What made you fantasize about this? I just don't get it. Like, what prompted you to... There's a tweet from some guy he's responding to, but it's just like, Jesus, man, this is some weird fantasy you and Tone talk about. Fucking weird. And they call you weird for A-logging this shit. Meanwhile, that's the weirdest shit you could ever fucking say. Oh my God. So Dave Meltzer, again, he talks about Paramount, and he talks about if AEW gets or WB gets scooped up by Paramount, and he tries to give his thoughts on it, whereas everybody... Now, I'm going to give you guys some fucking fightception here. So Front Row Brian and Nicolo Piccolo were scrapping with each other on X, but they agree that Dave's a dumbass. So that's all you need to fucking know, okay?
Yeah, poor people don't like AEW.
These two, Nicolo Piccolo and Front Row Brian, were going back and forth about just like a minor... It was like they agreed. I don't even really know what they were fighting. Meltzer's fucking trending right now, too, on X. But they both agree that Dave Meltzer's a dumbass. Yeah. So that's where Dave really needs to like take a step back and go, yeah, I'm fucking up here. So Dave Meltzer responds to Front Row Brian, who says, Ellison will not compete with his partners. Ellison will take an equity stake in TKO. Writing is on the wall. AEW is done on Paramount WBD. And that's all it boils down to. And I may try to elaborate on it more. Other people may try to elaborate on it more. Nicolo Piccolo can be so kind as to write this long fucking explanation, just breaking it down, like really breaking it down for Dave, schooling him, taking him to school, teaching him what he thinks he knows what he's talking about. Here's what you're really trying to talk about, and here's how it works. And Front Row Brian, though, he's just like, succinctly, this is all that matters. Ellison will not compete with his partners. Ellison will take an equity stake in TKO. Writing is on the wall. You know, Dave Meltzer goes, Ellison just doubled UFC's deal, and AEW's deal is far more cost effective. Dave, they're not trying to nickel and dime save money in the wrestling biz. Unk, I don't know where your head's at. This ain't the fucking territories, Unk. They aren't trying to be, they don't care about saving a fucking dollar. Logan Paul tried to offer WWE a cut of his $2 million to box these football players. And they were like, nah, we're good on the money, but they do $7 billion deals, $9 billion deals and all this shit. They don't give a fuck about having to spend $100 million on a fucking roster of where, let's be honest, if WWE absorbed AEW right now, you'd get fucking at the most and there's hundreds of people on the roster, you'd get like 20 guys at the most. And the rest would be off to New Japan again and shit. We're back on the indies. And that's not even being rude to anybody. It's just like, what are they going to do? Create a whole new show? So really think about Paramount. They own a chunk of this. And we're going to keep it on TV when we could fill that time with more cost effective. Dude, there's reruns of shows that do better ratings. So they're not like invested in tone the way whoever the fuck is at WB, whoever he was able to, con money out of, or whoever he's friends with that got him this TV deal. Guess what? Now the ball's in another court where it's a whole other team of friends, and Tone's called them Harvey Weinsteins and bald assholes, and the wrestlers are fucking shitting on these guys and talking shit about their partners and shit all the time. And Dave wants to use this narrative of like, well, WWE's sweating AEW and all this shit. So then why wouldn't this be what stamps them out? Why wouldn't you be realistic about this, Dave? You call people Harvey Weinsteins. The fan base calls the Fed and their fans and the people who work there the MAGA company and all this shit. And even if they are, it's like, that's just going to backfire. I'm sorry. Tone didn't think this through. He really didn't think this through because he's the kid. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. Yeah, I'm just a kid. I know that it's not fair. So let's read more of this. This is funny. Shadow Front Row Bryan. He goes, that TV deal isn't long-term. When Ellison shuts it off, where do they go? So Dave is going, so read this shit. Dave is going, expenses are 195 to 202 million per year. Dave Meltzer, come on down. Do I have my fucking sound? Let's go. Oh, really? Jesus. So he knows this. Like, why would you want Dave to know your expenses down to a fucking T like this? Like, let's say your Tone. Why would you want him to know this? Like, why would he know this? Everything's private. Nobody knows shit. Everything's kept secretive and private. Why the fuck would Dave, or why would you want him to know this, or why would he know this?
Poor people don't like AEW.
So Dave goes, expenses are 195 to 202 million per year. And here's the other thing. Again, I just have to drag his ass. Dave, in a previous tweet, you were fucking saying that nobody knows. Nobody actually knows, Bryan. Front row, Bryan. So how the fuck do you know this? Why would this be your defense then? If nobody knows, how are you able to just conjure up this shit? You just contradict yourself, and you're just in arguments with people who actually know what the fuck they're talking about. So Dave goes, TV rights last year for US alone were 180 million. So wasn't it upwards 185? And then there were reports that they only got like 130 to 140 or something like that. And then, as people like Nicolo Piccolo have pointed out, Dave knows that that's not all cash. Like, that comes in other forms. It's equivalent to that amount. And upwards 180. Dave, you don't know that they got that unless Tone told you, yeah, we're getting the money every week. Which Tone, why would you tell him that? Why? What's the point? What journalism has he done? He's done nothing but use that to do fake journalism. So I'm going to shut this fucking window here. Tickets and zero merch, and ad and international media rights. So if they sold 0 tickets and 0 merch and had 0 sponsors, they would be quite profitable. So again, you're talking about the rights alone were 180 million. Dave, the roster costs 100 million plus on the conservative side. Or like being generous with however you want to frame that. Okay. It is fucking $100 million or more easily when you just start doing the math on this shit. When you just really realistically add this shit up. And you look at the old salaries and then you think of the people who are there, plus the roster's more bloated, plus they added pay-per-views, plus the attendances are down, and they're doing more shows. Now, they've done some residencies, but they're still doing these big buildings that don't fucking fill up. And they've had to go to cheaper tickets, and they're giving them away, and they were exposed for papering more than ever. So factor all those things in. Oh, well, WWE papered 5,000 at their 40,000 show. Okay, gives a fuck. We're talking like all in was less than 20,000 paid people to be there. The last one. That's crazy. So he goes, what does he say? Well, they had some bad houses. Some bad houses. They had some bad houses, Dave? Some. Only some? They also had 2 houses near 3 million. Dave, each young buck gets paid more than 3 million this year.
Stupid idiot.
Individually, they each get more than that this year alone, each of them, as individuals, let alone Omega, Moxley, Jericho. You were saying Hobbs was getting 2 million, which isn't true, you dumbass, but like, that's what you tried to float out there. Danielson. Did I say Edge? Christian Cage. Okay, think about what are FTR getting? They're not getting 7 figures. Everyone on salary is not on 6 figures. Are you fucking joking me, man? He's just so full of shit. Moxley, did I say him? There's a bunch of these fucking names. Hangman Page. What do you think Joe's getting paid? What do you think MJF's getting paid, chat? So it's just straight cope. Oh, they did 2-3 million houses. Okay. So WBD took their cut. And then what does that go into? Just keeping the company alive. Tony's not losing tons of money. And also Tony Khan, and we went over this, he did an interview where he would not say the words, we're making money. He said, we're hoping to make money. And he said, we're hoping to make money. That's what he said in an interview. So I don't think Tone will even confirm any of this, and it just makes them look fucking stupid. They had several others more than 1 million. Okay. Monet gets several million. She gets more than 1 million. She gets multiple more than 1 millions in a year. Highest paid women's wrestler of all time. Okay, so what are we talking about? Becky Lynch is getting 2 million, whatever, plus with a bunch of perks or whatever the fuck she's at right now. So what is Monet getting? Highest paid ever. What is she getting? 3 to 5? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just such cope, and he plays, and it's all private, so he can just do this. He can just say anything. Some huge merch numbers, especially for All In. Now I'll give AEW this: all of their merch is just AEW merch. Yes, they have some Bruv jerseys. Yes, they have some fucking scarves or whatever with maybe a wrestler's name on them here or there, but they have this shitty deal through Pro Wrestling Tees, which really just affects the boys more than anything. And then the merch at AEW shows, not that they're selling a lot of it. Everybody sees the images of the merch stand sucking. Everybody sees like Grand Slam Australia. The tweets go viral. They had fucking no merch and it stank. And, wrestlers, we covered how Marina Shafir had to tag AEW in her fans to one of her fans' tweets saying like, hey, can we get these Marina Shafir jerseys and shit on AEW shop? Like, you can't find them anywhere. And I will say that maybe AEW does make like a good chunk on merch sales because all the merch is just AEW shit. So yeah, that's good for AEW, good for them. But how does that benefit? Like, we're not seeing that money. We're not seeing better merch. We're not seeing a new merch. Well, the designs got better. They fired the old AI person they had doing it, and then now whoever designs their shit's better. But the shit's still hack and corny. Like the fucking all these shirts, Big Hebrew and Big Black and Jacked and fucking all this stuff. It's still stupid. You know, the Aubrey Edwards shirt, like they're all lame. It's not shit you'd wear in public, but it has gotten better, I guess, on like the artistic front, I guess the designs and whatnot. I'll give them that. But even then, I don't think it's like a killing the way Dave is saying, like Run the Truth Killings killing. You know, it's just like they pocket some money probably from it, but they print AEW on everything. So let's see some new merch setup for the boys and girls to where you take a cut of that, but they actually make money. You know, like, do they even have headshots and shit at these shows? The Dynamites I've been to, man, they don't have fucking head. There wasn't anything. There's barely anything. There was some Sting masks, and it's just AEW shit. And so, and then you go to like a WWE house show, and there's like a bunch of shit. There's like almost too much shit. You could literally get all of Roman's old Shield gear and dress up as fucking Shield Roman right there at the merch stand if you wanted to. They have so much gear and fucking pictures and shit. So I don't know, man. I know they have like, here's a couple signed action figures. And it's like, man, do you see how those don't sell at Walmart? Why the fuck would they sell here? Well, it's signed. Okay. I don't know. I just when they say huge merch sales, like maybe for AEW, but for the boys, like where do we see that? We don't. The fans aren't getting better merch service and shit. So why would anyone give a fuck about that? Anyways, Dave says, but I'm sure you'll find a way to deny the obvious. You know, and then Front Row Bryan is just poning people. Let's continue along. We're spending a lot of time on this, but yeah. He's talking Ellison. Dave Meltzer's like, Ellison just doubled UFC's deal. AEW's deal is far more cost effective. I mean, no renewal is guaranteed today, but I just did the numbers for AEW, UFC, and threw in Zuffa Boxing, and AEW's by far the best value for the money. Dave, you're a fucking liar, man. You don't know, like, the ads and shit. UFC and all of that is a way more... It's cost effective. Again, they're not worried about pinching pennies, man. And then Niccolo Piccolo owns him in this fucking thread here. I suggest you guys go and read it. I'm not going to read through this whole goddamn thing, but he just breaks down in depth what Front Row Bryan was saying there, essentially, right? In one sentence. And, again, man, Nick's just been slapping Dave around again. It's been the funniest shit ever. So Dave Meltzer, again, he gets into a bit of an argument here, and he goes, no idea how 2023 attendance has anything to do with numbers on HBO Max. Well, Dave, those numbers are invisible. We can't see them. They're not palatable. Do you understand, stupid? So we can see the attendance. We're in the audience. We see you in the front row making love eyes at Okada, hoping he notices you. There's the girl that I like. Dun, 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 dun. I bet I can be cool if I tried. So, Dave Meltzer, we see you there in the crowd. Like, people are in the fucking crowds. It's palatable. You go to a WWE show and Brian's sitting in the 75th row. You go to a Dynamite show, you're in the front row, special guest VIP. Okay, we can see the shit online. We can't see these HBO numbers, and the ones that we can see just make you sound like you're insane. So this guy here, Maximus Prime, gets into it a little bit with Dave. And he goes, because AEW has been increasing. Also, I never said WWE was cold. I said it was down from its peak slightly. Like, Dave, no, you didn't. You said the peak is over. It's not as hot. It's down from the peak slightly. You're lying. You've said that a bunch of fucking times. And so they just continue to argue. And he goes, it is because the argument is that HBO Max opens up AEW to an audience that cut the cord, and that attendance is related to momentum. If HBO Max opened AEW up and captured a larger audience, wouldn't that be reflected in larger attendance? Yes. But these people are fucking stupid. So Dave Meltzer goes, no idea how 2023 attendance has anything to do with numbers on HBO Max. And this is cute. Keep this in mind. There's a reason I'm repeating it. Keep that in mind that he said that, because Dave is going to start talking about, and actually, we just covered it. And I think there's a whole ass other tweet very similar, but Dave was talking about the last TV deal and the cost. Well, no, he was just talking about the cost. I think he brings up the old TV deal and shit, but it's like, Dave, if 2023 doesn't matter, why are you trying to sell us on their old TV deal? None of this matters. So we're going to get into that. But Raj Giri says, when every sport pseudo sport does like 10% for a streaming simulcast, you've got to understand why people don't trust unverified numbers that you like to make up. That's all it is, Dave. Try actually studying the business. And so Front Row Brian goes, I hope the AEW paycheck is worth it, Dave. Can't blame you for taking it. You're the main reason I got passionate about UFC in 1996. And this is why a lot of people are coping. And I think there's a lot of people out there who have like cognitive dissonance when it comes to Dave. They don't want their reality to be shattered and accept that like Dave is just a fucking fool, baby, like
Meltzer Inferno.
And he did inspire a lot of people. He was very educational. Even if you did take him with a grain of salt back in the day, the way he communicates with people and what social media did was just really fuck up the perception of him. His radio show did that a lot too. Honestly, it did. And that's why Meltzer said what has existed for so fucking long, because that dude's listening to their shows, their radio shows and whatnot, before like internet clips and tweets became so overly viral. So I just think the internet really fucked Dave as far as like people can do his job, but better. Other sites chronicle wrestling without the lies. They just chronicle it. Even Cage Match, like, let's be honest. Oh, only sickos use Cage Match. Yeah, but it's just like an open forum where people go and vote on matches and they can write reviews and shit. Like, at least you're just like, even if, there's a bot attack, it's just fake bots. That's all the fucking lol cow copes now. It's just fake bots, man. That's the new cope fucking term. But yeah, I just think the internet did him a disservice because it just showed how condescending he is and towards people. And he's always been that way. And so when you hear like Eric Bischoff, who had to deal with him personally, and people in the business who dealt with him personally in the past, and they're like, no, we tried to bring Dave in. We did. But he's mental. And you hear wrestlers like, dude, he's just a piece of shit, And it has to do with more than just the journalism side of things. And you see that when Jim Cornette and Brian Last pull up old like letters that Dave wrote to old journalists and things like older journalists, and stuff he was writing to other magazines and whatnot. You just hear how he's super redacted and he's super shitty towards people who like came before him even. And he always thinks he's like this revolutionary. Meanwhile, he's literally stuck 10 years in the past minimum, maybe longer. 10 years in the past as far as his wrestling tastes, for sure.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
So Dave says, man, you just threw in the towel a second time. No, clearly not, because it garnered this huge response from you, buddy. What it did was triggered this huge paragraph response. So it's not throwing in the towel. If he threw in the towel, just go, you're a retard, and move on. So Dave says, man, you just threw in the towel a second time. The paycheck line is the one the losers who go to as a last resort. And this is my last resort. This is Dave's last resort, man. Next, you'll be doing the senile line. That's the next one. Then you'll say, nobody would ever hire me in wrestling, and I'm bitter. Yet I explained the rights, fees, and values literally 1 month after AEW got television, and it all went exactly as I said could happen. And why? Always, always, except, made a point actually where, except, there are no, guarantees. It's like, and even today, no guarantees either way, Brian. A lot happens in 2 years. Then Dave, if there's no guarantees, just say, well, I don't know. I'm just guessing like everyone else. We actually don't know the numbers, but this is what I go based off of. And this is why I go based off this. He just won't say that though. Then why are you arguing against it if you don't know? Like, you're the news, buddy. You claim to be this fucking insider with the inside scoops. Don't do that then. It's fucking stupid. Just say I'm an opinion guy and just have fun with it, And it is a lot of Dave's opinions, but he will say like, they told me, they all to WWE. I mean, it was explained to me what they all said to me was, and things like that. Or AEW, he talks as if the 500,000 is real, but then he goes, oh, no one knows. Then why do you talk about that as if it's real? So you're just fantasizing. And it's safer to assume AEW's doing closer to like, okay, let's say they're doing what NBA does or whatever the fuck, or every other sport. Let's say there's 10% of the 650,000 that watch them, even give them the 10%, which it's likely not even that. Why don't you just do that as like a basis? Why do you work on stuff like why do you imply through implication, through what you say, Dave, you're sort of implying that you're privy to information that we're not, but you won't prove it, but we know Tone calls you on the phone. So if you could prove it, you fucking would to shut everybody up, but you can't. And you won't. So the only assumption left is you're getting paid or you're being given some sort of access. We're not, moving along here. So Dave Meltzer continues with this bullshit. He goes, the 24th most valued NFL franchise still has more leverage than the UFC and Zuffa boxing. And so let's read this like, holy fuck. What's going on here? So this guy says, also, if NFL teams held media leverage, the Dallas Cowboys, far and away the most valuable franchise in the league, would dictate rights worth billions by et cetera, et cetera. And then Meltzer's response is the 24th most valued NFL franchise still has more leverage than the UFC and Zuffa boxing. Man, I don't even know, chat, what we're doing here anymore.
I don't know.
I just don't even understand how we can continue. Like, this is baffling. And Nicolo Piccolo goes, no, they do not. The Kansas City Chiefs formed its own production company in February 25, Foolish Club Studios, which is run by Kansas City Chiefs president Mark Donovan, a longtime, well-liked NFL executive whom I've known for years. They share an entertainment attorney with my clients, Aaron Donald and Drew McIntyre. The Chiefs are one of the most well-run organizations in all of sports. Ask them if any individual team or owner has programming leverage. Spoiler, they don't. You clearly don't understand this. Buddy, I just don't know why Dave even tries and talks about this stuff. The 24th most valued NFL franchise. This is a guy, Patrick Mahomes and Cuervo, Brian. I would be a sports. I'd be one of the top. This is what Dave's actually said. I'd be one of the top NFL journalists or reporters.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
If I wasn't doing pro wrestling. It's just like, man, I don't know. I don't know. The president sits there with Dana White and Ari Emanuel, the president who's gotten motherfuckers thrown off TV already. And he's sitting there at UFC, goes to these UFC events, and is a huge fight fan. And as Nicolo Piccolo put it, like Ari Emanuel's Ellison's advisor or whatever, whatever the fuck he tweeted out as well the other day. It's like, Jesus Christ, Dave, I just don't know. I think you're really fucking delusional. And he's just in San Jose talking from the outside looking in. And when WrestleMania's in town, he won't even go. But when Dynamite pulls up, he's there front row. I fucking Katsuchika Okada. And Nicolo Piccolo says the Jacksonville Jaguars isn't leverage. So the implication, like Dave is saying he's gonna like Shad Khan's gonna leverage the fucking Jaguars over the UFC, over Paramount, one team. Buddy, they'll relocate that fucking team. They'll fucking merge it with the Miami Dolphins and fucking give Chicago their team back before they fucking, like Jacksonville not long ago was having problems with the way that their players get treated, and ESPN did a study, and with the way they were like papering houses and they weren't doing good attendances, like just a couple years ago, if you guys remember, and a bunch of other legal shit against players and stuff like this. That was all happening. Jokes aside, Dave is just cooked. He actually thinks that he would be a top football reporter and shit too. It's like, you just better stay out of that. That's where Niccolo Piccolo is going to school you. And moving along here, Dave breaks down the expenses, and we covered this already. And he's like, if they sold 0 tickets and 0 merch and had 0 sponsors, they would be quite profitable. It's just untrue. And Sammy Gurr says, tell me if I'm seeing things, Dave, because your first 2 sentences put AEW at the break-even point between expenses, and then the deal money negates the expenses. You didn't even mention payroll. And that's the thing, man. What about the staff? What about the travel? What about everyone having their own dressing rooms so they go to these bigger fucking buildings? So that Monet's got a dressing room and Omega's got a dressing room. What about the people like Rita Chatterton that are getting paid literally Ric Flair on payroll? We don't even see that shit. What about those things that just go completely unmentioned? What about like the fucking all of these other costs marketing the shit? He doesn't factor any of that stuff in, man. And it's cringe. It's super cringe. Moving along here. I quote tweeted this and I said, a legendary meltdown. If you're Tone, why would you want this dude to know your expenses down to a T? He's spurging out because this Paramount shit isn't ideal, and he's trying to create a narrative that people should invest or something. Saying things like they had some bad houses, but they're still having bad houses. Mox probably makes $3 million alone. It isn't confirmed they were given a full $180 million either. Cash. That's, if anything, it just hasn't happened. I'm sorry. Someone come out and fucking say that and say, Phil Marks, shut up. And I'll go, okay. But also, none of this matters come the Paramount acquisition anyways. TK's never confirmed any of this. Warner Bros. Have never backed Dave up. It's just Meltzer fantasizing about an old TV deal still. And that's what it is. Right? Like, Tony's never confirmed this. WBD told Dave to shut up the last time he was talking shit. Let's move along here. Did the Bears not officially get moved? I read something like they're moving to like Indianapolis or some shit. Is that, or yeah, Hammond, Indiana, or whatever the fuck. So Dave Meltzer continues along, arguing with Front Row Bryan, and Switchblade jumps into the mix here. So Front Row Bryan says Ellison will not compete with his partners. We read this. Ellison will take an equity stake in TKO. Writing is on the wall. AEW's done on Paramount/WBD. Dave says Paramount will have an equity stake in AEW when the sale goes through. Though, he says, there's no competition. Paramount has no other wrestling company. TK does own a property that AEW is in competition with. AEW owners are also NFL owners. A property 20 times more valuable to a major media. They can get the NFL, Dave. There's how many teams in the NFL? They can get a dozen other fucking people to jump on board with Paramount if that's the case. Shad Khan isn't the end-all be-all at all. And he has to take games to fucking Europe and shit. And people criticize him for that. So he's not the end-all be-all. The Jaguars aren't going to fucking persuade the entire football National Football League to fucking do anything. And you're just trying to convince yourself, Dave. That's the problem. He's like putting this narrative out there, trying to convince himself. And maybe Tone thinks this is true too, but he's fucking cooked. Like, yeah, I know they let you get away being on the committee, showing up in a neck brace, humiliating them and shit. I know they let you get away with some of that stuff, but it's not going to happen, man. And again, they're like, Paramount has no other wrestling company, but they have the UFC and they have Zuffa Boxing, and that's all TKO, and WWE is TKO, Dave. And if Dana White and these guys and Ari Emanuel and these guys go, we're just going to sell this shit back to Tone or whatever the fuck, we don't want anything to do with this shit, take it off the air. We'll do reruns of The Pit, and we'll do Big Bang reruns. What we'll do is when Dynamite used to be on TNT TBS, we will put like a fight, the UFC fight of the fucking year. Here's the best knockouts of the year. Here's the fights of the year. Here's the fucking submissions of the year. You know, they could do Ultimate Submissions hosted by Joe Rogan. They could bring that show back. I bet it'd get more fucking viewers, you know? So there's so many other things they could do. And they could also weasel a fucking WWE show in there. That could be the plan. We'll boot AEW off this shit, and then we'll get in the WWE business. Do you think Paramount wants to continue to work with TKO and UFC in them and work with WWE? Or are they like, let's try out and peel off the top in this wonky WB deal that we're inheriting with AEW? Let's fucking peel off the top of their pay-per-views. And yeah, let's go to the pay-per-view model and work with these guys doing pay-per-view. And why the fuck would they do that shit, man? They just paid all this money to get UFC off pay-per-view and on their streamer. Yeah, we'll keep AEW on there. It's in direct competition. They only called our friends Harvey Weinsteins, the people we're in business with. Yeah, let's totally keep these guys on the air. Like, what the fuck, man? Dave's so cooked. And Dave Meltzer continues along. Front Row Brian says, source on WBD making money on a wrestling show that can't sell out 1,200 seat venues. Meltzer goes, at least think before you post. And what's with like the condescending, the little insult each time? He states a fact, and then Dave goes, at least think before you post. He is thinking way more clearly than you. Zuffa Boxing runs Erie show. Zuffa Boxing runs every show at a He meant to write every, but he's just furiously typing on his phone. Runs every show at smaller buildings than that. Dave, they've had 3 events, I think. They've had like 3 or 4 Zuffa Boxing. I don't even think 4 yet. Okay? And yeah, they're at the Apex, a building they own. What are you talking about, man? UFC runs tons of shows at smaller buildings than that. Dave, the Apex, which they own. Anytime they hit the road, it's a big affair. Even the fight nights. You're lying, and you're talking to a guy who knows way more about MMA and UFC than you do.
Shut up, bitch!
So he goes, UFC runs tons of shows at smaller buildings than that. NXT runs its TV out of a building with 300 fans and no admission. Wait a minute. No admission. So you don't have to pay to go to NXT shows? I don't believe that. Do you pay to go to NXT shows? Because also you pay to go to Apex shows. Yes, you generally pay 15 over 30 for local house shows. Weekly televised shows at the PC are free, though they require advanced registration. Okay. So when they hit the road, 15 to 30. So they're okay. Dave's right. They just pack the people in there and just run it. Okay. Runs out of a building with 300 and just ran a big show in that building Saturday and booked a 2,100 seat building for its biggest show of the year. All are doing well. Front Row Brian goes, and the shows you reference, Zuffa Boxing and NXT, have the same operating overhead as AEW, who has several wrestlers making 7-figure downsides. Dave, Dave, Wavy Davey, Dave Meltzer. This is the part you're leaving out, man. Everyone wants to brag about how much Swerve is making, and Swerve wants to brag about how much Swerve is making, and everyone, oh, we all get paid. It's so great. Dave, NXT, and yes, those people should get paid and will get paid when they get to the fucking main roster, but there is the truth of there's a reality of overpaying people that we have to accept, okay? And he's pointing it out right here. AEW has several wrestlers making seven-figure downsides. Please think before posting. You're losing it, Dave. Happens to the greats. No shame. But watch your tone with me, guy. Tone. Oh, man. And so he follows up here, too. And they're like, Connor, this guy here, Mike Markart, says, Connor Ben just signed a one-fight deal with Zuffa for $15 million. And then Front Row Brian goes, Turkey is paying his purse. Saudi's pay purse is completely disjointed from fundamentals. And if that's factual, then Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, their UFC and Zuffa and WWE are killing it way fucking harder than I think people even realize, okay? So all I'm saying is if you're an AEW fan, get your MyAEW subscription set up. Like right away, sign up for that shit because it's going to end up there. But he points it out so eloquently. Zuffa Boxing and NXT, they cost the same to operate, Dave. And you're developing talent and you're investing in them and putting them on reality shows and shit that are all in production, that are all paid for by the fucking A&E or whatever the fuck. And people aren't getting seven figures, and it's doing the same ratings as Dynamite and shit. So what are you talking about? Why would Paramount stay in business with that? They could go, well, we'll just work with NXT or whatever. They could go, we'll put a WWE show on here. We'll have NXT Gold brand and Platinum brand. That's always my fantasy mark booking, 2K fantasy mark booking universe mode. Moving along here. We have just a little bit more, I think, on. No, that was it. So that was Dave completely getting owned, gulping, chugging it down for AEW. And there is more AEW chugging. But it sort of crosses over with WWE stuff. So we're going to get into all of that. Guys, make sure you check out patreon.com/pro Wrestle times for bonus episodes of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week as well, and Botchamania watch-alongs, early access to PWT Pod and all of that stuff. We watched the first season of Tough Enough. All kinds of shit is on there. So moving along here, Dave just kind of gets slapped around a bit, and then we're going to get back into like WWE versus AEW Cope and like the road to WrestleMania and all that. So AJ Francis jumps in on the all-out assault of Dave Meltzer. Okay. And so this conversation came up about like, better athletes and fighting and who would win in a fight and who would win in a boxing match and football players versus wrestlers and all this stuff. So Dave gave his 2 cents, or maybe 1.5. I don't know how many fucking IQ points he's got operating out there, but AJ Francis says, hot take, a lot of wrestlers aren't great athletes. This wrestlers aren't real athletes from an NFL Pro Bowler isn't a crazy claim. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of wrestlers aren't great athletes. That's a fair assessment. Okay. Dave Meltzer says, not sure I was expecting in my lifetime an active pro wrestler publicly arguing for the idea wrestlers aren't real athletes. I kind of agree with Dave there. It is weird that wrestlers are so adamant now. Well, it's not weird. It's just, it feels a little off because we're so used to people protecting the business. But fuck, man, even Undertaker's got a podcast. I just think the way you do it now is you work shoots by pitting the dirt sheets against and the IWC against each other. And then you do things like Rhea and Jade are doing on social media. Like that's the only way to kayfabe now. Otherwise, like, you kind of have to lean into, well, it's a performance. The guys who are like, I'm really going out there and fighting and shit, they just get shitted on. People just like clowned Karrion Kross. He's a fake tough guy. Some of his haters would just clown on him. And it's like, well, that's the whole point. All wrestlers are fake tough guys other than Brock Lesnar and a couple of these fucking guys like AJ Francis is saying. So what are we really talking about here? But anyways, Dave Meltzer goes, not sure I was expecting that. He says, even though it's inarguable that some wrestlers aren't great athletes, many are as well. Yeah, he didn't say many aren't. He didn't say many wrestlers aren't, he's just saying a lot of them aren't great athletes. Many of them are, okay? Just say that. Well, he can say whatever he wants, but you know what I'm saying. AJ Francis just claps back, though, and goes, you once ran with a fake story about me being a bad person that you either got from a liar. Dude, he didn't get it from a liar. He just made it
Liar!
Because Swerve is in fucking AEW, and he knows how you kind of feel about Swerve and whatnot. So
Tell
he's
us
just
what
lying.
you know, you goddamn liar!
Or made up yourself when I got released from WWE. That was the same day as my canned food drive feeding homeless children. Dave's such a piece of shit, man. Until you want to talk about that, don't talk to me about shit. You got chat, bitch. That rules. So we talked a bit about Dave Meltzer's thoughts on UFC and all of that, but outside of the business side of things, Dave touches on more controversy. And what happened was Daniel Cormier made a comment at the UFC weigh-in show. Daniel Cormier, he was like talking about Laura Sanko, his one of his co-hosts, and she also does commentary for the UFC, the first female commentator to do commentary for like full broadcasts and whatnot. She'll fill in for Joe Rogan sometimes. And she fought in Invicta, I want to say, back in the day. And she has some fighting experience. I don't think a ton of it, but she fought. She made the walk, and she does great breakdowns and analysis, and she trains. And Laura Sanko's a looker, for sure. And Daniel Cormier, what happened was, and I don't have the clip here, but he was on the weigh-in show, and he was like, Laura Sanko is the type of girl that I would, if I could go back in time, I'd warn people about in high school, like to marry a Laura Sanko. Like, she's kind of scrawny and awkward, but when you grow up into adults, she's hot. Meanwhile, my first wife, and this is what Cormier was saying, my first wife, she was thick and she had big titties or whatever. And then she got really fat once we became adults or whatever. What? I don't know. I'm butchering it, but it's like, I don't know what compelled him to make these comments. It just seemed kind of weird and off-putting and creepy. And I don't know, Cormier just speaks his mind, and he says a lot of dumb shit, including on commentary, but it's sort of like a charming quality about him. But I don't know why you're bringing up my first wife from high school. I wish I married a Laura Sanko is essentially what he was trying to say. And he was saying that the girls who are thicker in high school, they get fatter when they get older or whatever. And those nerdy girls get hotter is essentially the comment he made. Okay. And everyone, like, you see the faces there, like Chris Weidman's like, buddy, what the fuck are you talking about? And so Dave Meltzer responds and goes, chalk this one up to the evidence number one in the category, which you can say in the gym with your buddies and never say when being filmed. I just don't know if I would talk about dating high schoolers, Dave, even in the gym. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bud. That's me, though. And yeah, he just, I guess, was like, this is shit I'd say in the gym. That's like, it's locker room talk. Meltzer said, what goes, not Dave going for the locker room talk defense. Where have I heard this one before? And then Meltzer said, what goes back to 2019? And he goes, if you asked 100 people on the street who these personality traits are describing, who would they say? So Meltzer said, what points out that Meltzer does a lot of like Trumpish stuff, so these qualities here. Never wrong, speaks in riddles, arranges words in an unusual manner, thinks everyone is against him, seeks revenge against the Riddler. Who is Edward Enigma? No, maybe he's actually. So here's the Photoshop he made of Elon Musk. So maybe he's referring to Elon Musk. But either way, Dave is just always putting the defenses up and using the old locker room talk bit. So Dave Meltzer announces that on the road to WrestleMania, him and Bryan Alvarez will be doing the Wrestling Observer Radio WrestleMania weekend in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, because we're going to fucking lose our minds covering this shit if there's footage. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's going to be in Las Vegas, and him and Bryan have their fan fest set up, which is so cringe. Like, again, these grifters, Bryan, you guys are going to go to Vegas. Dave's not even going to go to Mania, was in front row for Dynamite, is going to go appear at these indie shows where they're going to mark out for him, but is going to claim he's not biased or a grifter by conning people in this fucking economy, complaining about tourism and the economy. He's going to host a fanfare in Vegas on top of everything and charge people to hang out with his mark ass when he's just going to go anyways. So he's only going because he's going to get paid for the events and all of this stuff that they're hosting, or what? Because we know he's not going for any other fucking reason. He wouldn't go if this wasn't the case. So it's pretty fucking cringe, man. If you really think about it, he'll go to Japan for like a New Japan show he really wants to see. He'll go to the UK for AEW. Meanwhile, WWE holds a PLE right in his backyard. He doesn't fucking go. And then he talks about how, well, the vibe there, everyone said it was anti-AEW. It's like, buddy, you weren't there. He's at Dynamite in the front row, eye-humping Okada, as I said before. Talking about how fucking Vegas is so expensive and tourism's down and blah, blah, blah. But he's going to go charge people to see him and to hear a live pod that he could just do in his hotel room. And he could just wander around and say what's up to everybody if he really gave a fuck about that stuff. But he won't even go to Mania. He'll just go to the indie shows around Vegas and whatnot. Because that's where people will mark out for him. And so F4W Online, The Observer, has released the official schedule for the Wrestling Observer Convention 26 in Las Vegas, taking place April 16 to 20. Highlights include Friday, live in-person recordings of the Bryan and Vinny show, and Wrestling Observer Radio at the Circa Resort and Casino, 21-plus venue, followed by a meet and greet with Meltzer, Bryan, and Vincent Verhey. Oh, my God, dude, a meet and greet. Is that extra, Dave, you fucking grifter? Saturday, group lunch at Texas de Brazil. It's my favorite spot, Bryan. They don't have Wagyu beef, but the artistry they serve. Oh, my God, man. A Brazilian steakhouse, all-you-can-eat meat. It's my favorite, Bryan. Oh, man. Saturday and Sunday, WWE WrestleMania watch parties and subsequent after parties in the wraparound suite at the Cosmopolitan. Could you imagine partying with Dave? How unfucking fun that would be. Oh my God. So he's doing a WrestleMania watch party, but he's melting down and backing up all these stories about them blocking viewers. So WrestleMania is such a botch, and the ticket prices are too expensive and everything's way too expensive, but come to Vegas and pay me to hang out with me and watch WrestleMania and have stink face about it and not even have a good time because I hate WWE. Like, Jesus Christ. Sunday, karaoke event hosted by Vincent. Tickets for the multi-venue convention are currently available through Eventbrite. Dave is the biggest fucking grifter ever, man. So where's he doing this watch party if they're blacking out all the watch parties, asshole? So you're going to retract that story? So who's grifting? You told a bunch of lies, doom and gloom how shitty WWE is, and then you're going to show up in Vegas and charge people to hang out with you instead of go to WrestleMania. Even though tickets right now are like $170, they have been lowered substantially leading up to the event, as everybody knew they would. And Meltzer's like, pay me tickets for each event. So you can get tickets for individual events or just all the events across the halls. Just a fucking gaggle of Redax, smelly fucking sicko Redax following Dave around. Crazy, dude. That's the grifteriest shit ever. Why doesn't he go to All In? Did he do this in All In Texas? Or is the economy not shifted enough to do some shit like that when all AEW pulls into town? That's what I'm saying, man. It's actually fucked up. And it just goes to show you that this guy is literally grifting, and that's why he projects that shit onto other people. You're just old podcasting grifters. That's you, bud. It's literally you. Why would people pay to hang out with you? Name a journalist that gets paid to get hung out with. Even Don Lemon pulls up for free before he gets thrown in jail and the party gets shut down. Oh boy. So in other AEW stuff, Dave Meltzer was there. He was, this is courtesy of Eric Bischoff, but Dave does Dynamite. Davey does Dynamite, okay? And Eric Bischoff posted this like movie poster facing you. Some connections are written in the stars, coming soon. A movie poster of Dave here. And you know he just loves this
guys,
show.
Tony Khan.
He's just eye-fucking Okada here. And you know he had one of the best times of his life. I'm having the time of my life, Bryan. And I never felt this way, Okada. And I swear I hate flutes, and I owe it all to you, Tony Khan. So he's just in love here, having a blast. That piece of white stuff from his microphone somehow made it on his shirt. I think it's spittle. I had to guess. It's fucking spittle. And from tongue wagging. And we're going to just leave this in here. But Dave took part in the media scrum call with Tone, which we're going to get into, but here was his review of the live Dynamite, and he's trying to play cool, coy, and calm. But what did he say? Mike Bailey and Fletcher was one of the 3 best matches I've ever seen in that building. Bryan.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
And it's hilarious because I knew that would happen. We jokingly put a poll in the chat during PWT Live last night. Time Cop live every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube. I put a poll in the chat saying like, okay, baseline 4 stars, 4 to 7 stars. Vote on what he's going to fucking grade this match. It's going to be one of his favorite matches of all time. We called it. It's one of the best matches he's ever seen in that building.
Poor people don't like AEW.
Here's Dave's review of Dynamite.
All right, we got to talk about Dynamite here. You went. How was the show?
Oh, live, it was a fantastic show. I mean, the Mike Bailey, Kyle Fletcher match was...
And I don't know if I bookmarked it, but Bryan Alvarez was at like Raw or SmackDown, and he was sitting in like the 100th row back. Right? And I get it. The tickets are expensive, but you would think being in the industry, one of the top journalists, Bryan's like, oh yeah, John Cena's listening. He agrees with me. Right? He's like, oh, they're all listening and reacting to everything we're saying. Right, Dave? And then he can't even pull any type of clout when he's sitting 75 rows back. Dave goes to Dynamite. He's front row. It's so funny, man.
You know, one of the 3 best matches I've ever seen in that building. And Andrade and Moscow Dorado was
one of the 3. So name the other ones? One of the 3. Like, why does he say such vague shit all the time? Sorry.
I mean, it wasn't far behind. That match was fantastic. The Young Bucks match was great. The Moxley match was great. The Darby Allin match was great. The crowd, I don't know how it came off on TV, but that was, I mean, it was a hot, sold out crowd. And
they were very hot. It was sold out. And that's because the AC was broken. But thank you. I'll be here all week. They were hot. It was sold out. So Dave is right about that. It came across great on TV. It actually did. These matches weren't all, this is great, this is great, this is great. Dem Bucks as well. The Young Bucks, but you're with Briscoe, so it's Dem Bucks. Go fuck yourself. Go Dem fuck yourselves. How about that? And I mean, that match wasn't great. The Darby match was not great. The Moxley match was not great. It wasn't great. It was an okay TV match, that opening tag match. The Bucks trios tag match, it's just the same fucking shit. It's the same fucking shit we fucking see every fucking time. Persephone and Nightingale went too long. It was not a great match. Fletcher and Speedball fucking ruled, but it just went like they had the crowd, literally everyone on their feet. Oh, then they do 7 false finishes before the finish, and a motherfucker runs out to get heat on Fletcher, which is okay, but they had runouts during other shit. And then the press conference, which we're going to talk more about, the press conference got dragged online. It was the shits. It was so cheesy. It went into the overrun. I thought it was just like a Road 2 show, because they've aired those sometimes after Dynamite on go-home shows, but it wasn't that. It was just like this press conference during the overrun that I did not realize it would take place during the overrun. And Dave Meltzer actually announced that he wouldn't be there for it ahead of time, like trying to put this kayfabe garbage bullshit over. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's finish this clip.
You know, they were hot until I think it was the next to the last match. That one, which was the Willow and Persephone. They liked Willow, you know. I mean, it wasn't like it was dead or anything, but
it's just too much wrestling. Do vignettes and promos and shit like that in between, more in-ring storytelling stuff, and like recaps and promoting other things, whatever. And then you just don't have that match. And then maybe it would have been paced well, maybe cut this Darby match out of there too. Focus on these 4 matches and then really tell stories and shit. I don't know, just a thought.
The heat was way down in that match compared to every other match on the show. I'm not saying nobody left, but that building was packed throughout Collision. Like, they did not leave during Collision. But in the building, we were not told. We were not told that Andrade was going to wrestle Mosquera Dorado. We were not told that, you know, any of these matches. I mean, everything was a surprise to the people in the building.
That's not a good thing. That's not what Tone should be doing. So WWE goes Punk Roman. Hey, trust us, because if we just pull up with any group of stars, you know it's going to be lit. Everyone can agree. If it's SmackDown, if it's Raw, whatever. If you pull up with Drew, Rhodes, Fatu, Roman, Punk, we can go down the fucking list here of guys. Penta, Dom, fuck, even Dan, throw Danhausen in there now. You pull up with these guys, The Miz, you're good. You could have 4 of the names I just listed. People are like, okay, we're going to get our money's worth here as long as they, you know, they book it well. I mean, a lot of, if you're paying to go to a Raw, like that's a lot of fucking talking and backstage shit you got to be a part of, and not so much on the wrestling side of things, obviously, in comparison, right? If you just want to go and see matches. And that's why live events should come back for WWE, if I'm going to do a what about WWE and criticize them a bit. But with AEW, it's just like match. So that's not a factor, right? With AEW, they should be telling you who's going to be there. Like, you should know a couple of the matches. And Tone used to do this thing where he'd announce all these matches, and then Excalibur would be quickly just reading off 12 matches on 4 different shows before they go off the air. And that was bad. So there's a sweet spot. There's a balance, right? And Tone needs to figure that out, obviously. Know who's going to be on shows, promote them in advance, and then maybe more people will show up. Now, this was a sellout. But again, when they do these Cali shows, you can't, I'm not saying they papered the shit out of a 2,500 seater or whatever. I'm sure they were able to, like, there's a PWG following and shit, but that's just it. That's sort of home turf for the Bucks and these guys. And Dave Meltzer. right? And his entourage of fucking ladies with bananas squished in their faces. So they're in their backyard, so to speak, with the Bucks and whatnot. And also we know that in LA, around the Cali area, there's schools going. We fucking all are getting free tickets and shit. So that's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying.
I think they could have said, like,
maybe try finding the sweet spot tone and promoting your fucking superstars or your talent or whoever's going to be on whatever show. Don't overload it, but don't go to the other end of the spectrum and not tell people it's all a surprise. Okay, well, that you can't just go off surprises when what's a surprise in AEW other than here's another WWE guy. Otherwise, it's not a surprise. It's just like a fucking gory stunt everybody forgets about in 10 minutes. Just like in deathmatch. If this deathmatch shit was going to blow up, there'd be a babillion people watching deathmatch. There'd be a deathmatch league that's like on TV late night, rivaling the fucking, even ECW took it too far for just the general people. They had a hardcore fan base, but just if you're trying to grow this fucking thing, I don't know. I've harped on this casual shit so much. I'm not going to get into it again, but let's get through this clip here.
You know, the main event tonight's going to be Andrade and Dorada. But as it turned out, I guess it didn't matter because people didn't leave early. If they had, if they were going to leave early, I would have said, like, what a big mistake. But now I can only say I would have done it differently. But how big a mistake was it when people didn't leave?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2,500 hardcores. Like at fucking indie shows, they stay till the bitter end. They show up early. They hang out with the wrestlers. They stay after. They hang out with the wrestlers. They try and see where the wrestlers are eating at. They befriend some of the wrestlers. They hang out at their tables and shit. It's like when you go to your local fucking music venue. Everyone's got like a local bar that's like also, oh yeah, you go there, people play music and shit. It's the same thing there. You hang out. You might go to the merch table. The person's accessible. It's an indie show, Dave. It's a fucking indie show. So Dave just loved that shit. A couple super chats here. Rabid Wolverine, LC Killer 17 for 2. Thank you so much. Says Dave Meltzer credibility is in minus 508%. Brian. Yeah, or 30. I like to go with the old 30. You know what I mean? His credibility is shot. F1WGP7 for 5. Thank you so much. Says, hope everyone in the chat has someone that looks at them like Dave looks at Okada. Yeah, man. That's true. Find yourself a woman that looks at you like Dave looks at Okada. And he was standing up, too. I'm pretty sure he like jumped to his feet. That's how I noticed him. He like stood up when Okada was there. And he's just like staring him in his eyes like, please notice me. It's not like a fan at all. He's just super intense, licking his lips. And he wasn't focused at all at like, oh my God, I'm into this shit. He's just like, oh my God, it's him. I've rated him so many stars. I hope he comes and shakes my hand. Thank you guys so much.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
So moving along here, we have more to get to with Dave and AEW, but it will start to bleed into WWE here in just a moment. Dave Meltzer went on to explain how this Dynamite is one of the best Dynamites in history if you factor in the match quality. Again, you cannot make this shit up. I said it on PWT Live Show. He's going to say this was the greatest event of all time. This was his favorite event. He's going to give 5 stars. Maybe he'll just do like 4.5 to try and not overdo it. But guys, he said that Mike Bailey and Fletcher was one of the top 3 matches he's ever seen there. Okay, if you just isolate that match, maybe it was one of the best matches he's personally ever seen there. You can't really debate that. It was a solid. I enjoyed the match. It just went a little too fucking long, right? But now he's saying not only that, it was one of the greatest Dynamites of all time. And it's like, Dave, you're like an infant, right? you go, it's like a kid gets taken to a fucking Star Wars movie. They're obsessed with Star Wars when they're a kid. You saw this live. You're like, it was the greatest fucking time of all time. And that's why I kicked your leg from your leg, Brett. It was the greatest time of all time, Brian. It was the greatest show ever. Everybody's experienced that. And you're well within your right to, you know? There's a reason people will pay shitloads of money to sit 500 rows back and see Roman Reigns, or sit 500 rows back and see Taylor Swift. You're like, holy fuck, I heard her sing it live, and even she might not be the best singer in the world. It was just an experience, and this was awesome in the presentation, and it's something that I've done and in my life, and like in the building, it was just such the vibe, the energy, everything that goes with it. Everybody experiences things differently. And so instead of Dave just being like, I had a fucking blast, I'll have to watch the show back on TV now to really review it the proper way and tell you what I honestly think in the building. I mean, fuck, man, I drank a beer. It was such a fun time. The popcorn was good. It was fucking, I had such a good time. The vibe was awesome. Every match was like banger. You know how much I love bangers. Instead of doing that, Davey does Dynamite and just fucking rose-colored glasses, the greatest fucking Dynamite of all time. Star-colored glasses, star-covered, star-studded glasses, right? One of those fucking, those things you look in as a kid and it's like an optical illusion with all like the fucking shapes and the stars and all the diamonds and shit, and it's fun. That's what Dave's looking at it, looking at Dynamite. He was there. He experienced it. It was a fun time. I get that, Dave, but one of the greatest Dynamites of all time. I don't know about that, bud. It seems like people didn't really like the press conference. I thought it was lame that it happened after Dynamite was done. I'm sure in the building it was received well because of the transition. Because usually what happens, if you guys have been to a Dynamite /Collision/ROH, you guys know this. They take like fucking 20 minutes to switch the buckles and the fucking apron or whatever, and all of these things. And Tone will come out and just talk to you. And it's cringe as fuck. So instead they did the press conference. I don't know, like in the building where they redo in the ring and getting the Collision apron set up and all that. I don't know. I wasn't there, but it wasn't received well to people viewing it. It kind of came across shitty to me. It started well, and then the brawl was just made it silly. And then Dave tried to put it over before he even went there. So, like, I don't know. Was it the greatest Dynamite? I don't think Willow and Persephone was one of the greatest segments ever. I think they've done way better shit on Dynamite. I don't think that the Dogs match was one of the, to call it the greatest ever. Was it just because you were there, Dave, and it was one of the greatest nights ever for you because you got fucking glazed, you got to go backstage, you got to hang out in Tone's office, you got to fucking watch the matches in the front row, got the tickets for free. You know what I mean? It was in your backyard. You were home by fucking midnight or whatever. Probably not, because it's AEW. It goes forever. But Dave likes that. You got to see the guys flip and then give you a little wink in the front row during the commercial break. Dave, was it just that? I really fucking wonder.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Let's get to this clip.
I think this has a chance, from a wrestling standpoint, just match quality, to be one of the best Dynamites in history. Look at these matches. Like,
yeah, chat saying they were chanting, "This is boring" during that fucking segment, and it was a pre-taped segment. So if that's facts right there, then it's even worse than I thought.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
And he's saying the best Dynamite of all time at a show they chanted "This is boring" at. Well, it was the pre-tape.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time too.
Well, actually, Phil Marks, it was they pre-taped it, so it doesn't count. Like, how are we qualifying
just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
How can you then say it's the best Dynamite if they chanted "This is boring"? Meanwhile, 12 sickos, not even, like 6 sickos at a fucking at a WWE event, stand behind Triple H and go AEW for like 3 seconds, and Dave's there with a smirk. Oh, they're chanting AEW. So I didn't watch this clip in full. I was on the air during the "this is boring" part. I was talking and doing news over the press conference for the most part. So again, I should go back and rewatch Bryan, but it's like I didn't even register the "this is boring" aspect. And you mean to tell me this is what Dave thinks? He was sitting there while they're chanting "this is boring," and what was he just smiling? Was he tongue wagging? Did he get all defensive? This actually isn't boring. It was pre-tape, Bryan. To like the guy next to him in the fucking seats. And will he address this in the Observer? Does he address it here? We actually have Dave talking about the press conference, which we're going to get to. I've been milking it. But here's the thing. Is this another lie by embellishment? We have to track it, chat. So in the Observer, is he going to write that they chanted that? Is he even going to mention it in this clip? Let's find out together. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back right after these messages.
Audio and Takeshita had an unreal great match on Saturday night. So now you've added Moxley and Hechicero. Hechicero's great. Moxley always has great TV matches. He's great. The Young Bucks match. I mean, Young Bucks and FTR, that match is going to be ridiculously good. Mike Bailey and Kyle Fletcher is going to be ridiculously good. I think Willow and Persephone could be very good. It's not like a guarantee, but I think it will be pretty darn good. And then Orange Cassidy and what's it?
Orange and Darby versus Gabe and
So
Dave.
is this might be before he went to the show, but either way, dude, if he doesn't write about the fucking "this is boring" or bring it up on the air the same way he didn't bring up the screwdriver shankening right in front of the ref and then still grading that match 4 stars, like, come on, man.
Good Finley.
That's going to be really good. Number one, it's Dave Finley's debut.
So he's saying that's going to be really good. So before the show, holy shit, Dave said before the show even went down that this has, from a wrestling standpoint, it could be one of the best Dynamites in history. Guys, so he was already so excited and giddy for the show. It's worse than I thought. It's always worse than I thought. I'm being tortured. I need a break. I need a break from felting Dave. It's worse than I thought. So before he went to the show, he's already like, it's going to be the best, Bryan, one of the best of all time. I just can't believe this.
Gonna be really revved up to go, and he's great.
Dave was all revved up. I've got half a chub right now. I'm working up my chode.
Great. And Darby and Darby's always great, in his own way, what he does. Orange is a great worker, and Gabe Kidd, he's super aggressive, and he's great too. So yeah, I think this may be like one of the.
I'm real revved up right now, Bryan.
Maybe one of the best Dynamites that they've ever done.
He literally. So, chat, what the fuck? Yeah. So I bookmarked this. This is on the 10th. He said this. So this must have been recorded on the 9th or earlier the day on the 10th. So he's talking about shit that never happened yet, going, this is one of the best Dynamites they've ever done. Listen to that one more time. It didn't even happen yet. Whoa! Holy fuck.
He's super aggressive, and he's great too. So yeah, I think this may be like I think it may be one of the best Dynamites that they've ever done.
Whoa. Oh my God, man. This is insanity. And remember, he was coping about the being senile earlier. What is this, Dave? He's doing a time cop. Dave of the future went into the future, saw the matches, came back in time, and then fucking talked about how it's the greatest show they've ever done. I mean,
the best guys, Tony Khan.
What more evidence do we need of just complete and utter shillery? Like, is he getting paid to say that? That's the only explanation, is he got paid to say that before. But this is what it is. He's a little kid. He's giddy, and he's excited for it, and it's going to rule no matter what for him. He was so excited. He's like, it's going to be one of the best ones in front of me, the king. So this is what Dave had to say. He says he will not be at the MJF and Hangman press conference in San Jose because it's not real, and has the hard-hitting journalist. And as the hard-hitting journalist, I'm dyslexic, with unrivaled credibility, that would be seen as biased. Oh my God, Dave, you said it was the greatest Dynamite they've ever done before it ever even happened. Time Cop! He then says he might stop by and watch, and then goes on to say best ever Dynamite tomorrow. So let's listen to this clip. Let's see this. Hear this, rather. Shout out Meltzer said what?
Takeshita and Hechicero. Hangman and MJF will have a press conference, which Dave will be at asking questions, everybody.
No, I won't.
No? All right.
No, I won't. No, I won't, Brian. Don't be silly. Why would I go there, Brian? The best guy.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
But I'm offended. You'd think they'd book me in an angle. I mean, unless they want to use me in an angle, Brian.
In San Jose. How could you not be at it?
Because it's fake.
Because it's a TV show.
No.
It's not a real press conference.
Oh, I can't believe we live in a time where a pro wrestling journalist would fucking what he was saying about AJ Francis. Oh, I can't believe I'd live to see the day where a wrestler's actively like advocating that wrestlers aren't athletes. Yeah, I can't believe you're fucking burying essentially what you do because it's a scripted show and you just said it. Doing any sort of journalism on any of this fake shit is fucking insane. Is cooked, and we should all mock it.
They are inviting real press. There is going to be real press there.
So they're inviting real press, and you're not one of them. Why? Well, because I mean, if I showed up, it would be bias. Okay, but then why'd you guys used to go to them? Why did Try Brian used to go to them until Christian Cage cooked them?
I'm not going. I don't want to be on their TV show. I mean, nothing against them, but I don't want to be on their TV show. I don't
want to be on their TV show, Brian. I just want to sit directly where the fucking wrestlers are in the front row, directly on. So the hard cam side was you walk down the stage, I believe, and they had the table in the back, right? The way the setup was. So he's dead in the front row on either side of the ring, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, Dave, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
For me, it's a good idea.
You would have just sat backstage and watched in Gorilla instead of Zoom called in on Gorilla like you typically do on Wednesday.
Can't you wear those glasses with the mustache and just, like, be there as, you know?
I was actually thinking.
And how about Dave going just like a self-felt, oh, there's going to be real press there. So meaning you're not real press.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
You're a fraud. You're a TMZ guy.
I was actually thinking maybe I would drop by, but not be one of the press in the audience. Just kind of watch it when it happens. But I can, I'm sure they're going to show it on TV anyway. So whatever. I'll be at the show. This is by the way, I think this has a chance from a wrestling standpoint, just match quality, to be one of the best Dynamites in history. Look at these matches.
And Dave's like, I don't want to be on your show. Well, they didn't they didn't show any of the press on the show. They just had questions off camera. And then they got in a fucking fight. So.
Claudio and Takeshita had an unreal great match on Saturday night. So now you've added Moxley.
So we heard this. Let's skip ahead a bit because we heard that.
Darby and press conference will be the press conference, and maybe one of the best Dynamites that they've ever done as far as match goes. I mean, the press conference will be the press conference, but look, those are two good talkers.
It's funny too how AEW is doing shit that sort of worked for them when like Cody Rhodes was there and shit, and now they're trying to go back to that. It's quite funny. Meltzer said, what image are they rebuilding from ever since every pay-per-view is the best ever? Dynamite is the best ever. Every tournament is the best ever. Every week has multiple 4 to 5 star matches. Record number of people are watching on Max, and AEW is where the best wrestle. And again, just pointing out, like, every time Dave says shit, like, they're rebuilding and now they're closing the gap, and he says all this dumb shit, and it's like, well, what do they have to rebuild from if everything's the best? They're in a rebuilding phase. Well, rebuilding what if everything's the best ever and all the sales are through the roof and all these numbers are setting records that we'd surely hear about on Max? And then Meltzer said, the funnest part about the TISM is every single thing you do or watch is like the first time you ever experienced it, and whatever you happen to enjoy doing or watching is instantly the best ever. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Meltzer said what says it succinctly here: with the release of the recency bias endorphins and stimulation overload. So, like, Dave, you're there or you're going, you're so excited, you're tickled pink, you get to make out with Tone in his private bathroom, give him a hug, and you know what I mean? You're sitting there with fucking emotional damage, staring in the eyes of Okada while he just looks past you, waving at the girl behind you. Right? And you're all giddy to go, and you're like, oh, it's going to be the best thing ever, Bryan. And that's exactly what it is. Like, it's happening. You're experiencing it, so it's the best, you know? So the Observer, I thought that tonight's Dynamite was maybe one of the best shows they've ever done. That's back in December. So we've had the best Dynamites they've ever done since December. Apparently, they're just on this hot streak, but right before December, Dave was saying they're rebuilding. So, like, what are we fucking talking about? Are they rebuilding or doing the best shit ever, rolling on into 26? Is the rebuild phase over? What's different? So, Dave Meltzer followed up on my question. Here's John Alba. Dave Meltzer follows up on my question and asks outright about what Tony Khan thinks about the people who believe the Paramount WB merger is bad for AEW. TK believes the merger will be huge for AEW, says he expects to be with TBS TNT for a long time to come. So that's just not true. I don't know. Tone might feel that way, but it's
the best guy is Tony Khan.
They're not going to be with TBS TNT for a long time, but for the next year for sure, or whatever. Maybe it's like a little under, a little over. They can like pick up an option, even if that happens, which I doubt. But Paramount, to lock in the Paramount deal might take as long as I think AEW has left on their shit. So they could end up getting that option and then staying around. However the fuck it works out, I don't know. I don't know shit about it. I'm a dumb fuck with a podcast. I'm not a TV exec, but however it goes down, they in a few years time, in a few years, we'll be looking back like you're in a new era of AEW, bud. Like, they're not going to be on TBS, TNT, and all that shit. I'm willing to bet on it. So Tony Khan, but of course he's just going to be like, no, it's great. Everything's great and things are great. And things couldn't be more great with my friends. And so Dave Meltzer talked about MyAEW, which was recently launched as well. And he says the new AEW service looks to me as something they are setting up as a replacement for Triller. Now, what's so funny is that Tony Khan was asked about this on the media scrum. And guess what answer he gave, chat? The exact same fucking rhetoric that Dave Meltzer spews here. So the question that Dave Meltzer asked Tone McCon during the media scrum was a premeditated, they already talk about this shit personally. And Dave's answer or reaction to rather MyAEW seems like a fucking press statement. And that's what Tony Khan brought to the media himself. And it just seems funny that before Tone goes and speaks publicly, all the dirt sheets have the exact same vernacular about MyAEW. They do a mini press release before he goes and does the media scrum. He tells everybody exactly what to say. And then they pretend like, and then Dave will pretend like I'm too good to go to the kayfabe press conference, or There's no bias here. Or like that last question Dave asked him. Dave asked him outright about the WBD thing. And John Alba's like, I actually asked him about it. And Dave followed up with my question. How fucking gross is that shit? They just all want little nuggets of credit for this fucking fake wrestling show. They all just, I was right. I want to be right. I want to be right. I'm right. Who gives a fuck? Shut the fuck up.
Shut up, bitch.
Shut up.
Would you please shut the hell up?
Fucking sucks the joy out of being a wrestling fan, dude. Get worked. Shut up. Lean into the work. Do something unique. Ask them about their fucking Waffle House order. That's way better content. I just got to be honest than whatever the fuck Alba's cooking up lately, you know? So anyways, Dave Meltzer on MyAEW, the new AEW service, looks to me as something they are setting up as a replacement for Triller, which has major financial issues. This has nothing to do with the U.S. Are you sure about that, Dave? Seems weird. Well, why didn't they roll this out when Triller was having financial?
Are you sure about that?
Year ago? Like, what are you talking about? This has nothing to do with the U.S. television situation. Are you sure? And this service is not even available in the U.S. because the contract with WBD would not allow it to be. Yeah, well, guess what, Dave? It is available in Canada, but it also excludes Canada. But I can go and buy the pay-per-view right now on the site. Or I can at least add it to my cart and shit. Maybe I could test checking it out, but I don't want to do that and then not be able to... Sorry, this video is not available in your region. I guess I could sign up and use a VPN, nordvpn.com/ProWrestleTimes, save 73% on new signups. But because this contract with WBD would not allow it to be. So there you go. It's like a contractual thing. So who knows? But Dave just with like a press release right there selling the MyAEW game. And clearly they could just roll this out in America. Whoa, if they wanted to the kids in America. Whoa. And they could just do it next year or if they get booted off fucking TBS or whatever, dude. So I just would stop talking shit, Dave. Just shut up right now. Let it play out and just stand it and give it tons of stars. Like, just go old school. Don't try and get overly involved. You're getting cooked way too hard on the business end of things. You're in over your head. And we're going to discuss that more in a moment here. Where is the clip I'm looking for? Sorry for the scrolling. There's a specific clip, I think. Yeah, so this is the one here. Trying to make sense of these AEW pay-per-view buys, okay? And so when I first listened to this, I was confused about what the fuck they were even talking about, right? And so I'm just pulling up something off screen here that someone messaged. So what Dave for a long time claims to have AEW pay-per-view buy info for some cable companies. This is where he has had determined that they have all these unique buyers. Bryan doesn't buy it and never has, as you can see from the clip. But this is also one of those Dave things you can't trust, because even when WWE still had the network or Peacock, Dave would get some old school traditional pay-per-view buy numbers and extrapolate info from that. And so what Dave is saying, this is a message from who sent me the clip, right? What Dave is saying is that of the 120 to 140K buys per pay-per-view, they are largely different people every time. In other words, you buy Revolution this weekend, but the next pay-per-view the month later after it, you won't get that one. I don't buy the pay-per-view this weekend, but I'll buy the one in a month or whatever. But yet they're still putting up these 120 to 140K conversions where that guy broke down the percentages. We went over it on this show. Time cop. And then Dave blocked the guy. Blocked the guy for just pointing out how, like, okay, these percentages are bigger than, like, again, what the same thing they do with Max, Dave was caught doing with the pay-per-views. Like back in the Attitude Era when you had millions watching and pay-per-view was actually pay-per-view, the conversions are way higher and they go up and down in fucking ways that don't make sense at all. And it's just Dave Meltzer. These are Meltzer's numbers instead of like numbers that other people were tracking when pay-per-view was actually pay-per-view. And like people actually reported it on it and had journalistic fucking integrity back then, you know? It just doesn't add up. So that's how this was explained to me in this clip, right? And I don't think Trying Bryan is buying in. Buying Bryan. Buying into Dave's bullshit. Let's take a listen to this clip. And Dave tries to explain, again, these anomalies. These fucking anomalies that only he magically somehow knows the numbers. And then when you bring that up, he goes, no one really knows. Well, then what are we? So then you're a liar. So then you're making shit up. If nobody knows, then prove me wrong that you're making shit up. You can't.
I hate to be that guy, but cannot buy for 1 second that AEW fans buy one pay-per-view a year. How can this be?
I had the 2023 and 2024 numbers. The number of people who bought every pay. This is from United States, from the major cable companies.
So the people that are buying on pay-per-view through a cable company.
It was covering about 60 million people. Yeah. Which is a pretty darn good survey when it comes to 60 million out of 90 million with exact numbers. Yes. It's not like this estimate or anything like that. So yeah, whatever the numbers were, you can look them up in the back issues of the Observer. I mean, those are exact numbers.
Those are exact numbers, but you get so much shit wrong, Dave. So when you say that, nope, you're still a fraud. You're still a fraud. Send us a link. Post a link, Unc.
Time we do a poll. And in fact, there's one on the front page on our board right now. And like almost everybody is like, I've bought every single pay-per-view they've ever done.
So listen to what he said. Let's bring that back. This is such key information right here. What Brian's saying.
Observer. I mean, those are exact numbers.
Every time we do a poll. And in fact, there's one on the front page on our board right now. And like almost everybody is like, I've bought every single pay-per-view they've ever.
Everyone on the Observer shit is saying they buy every pay-per-view. Now, a bunch of them are fucking spurgs.
Or, the
liars.
Young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So
flat out, point blank, if you're on that fucking message board, you're one of these fucking weirdos that Tone has to tell Bix and Span to unblock or whatever the fuck, Listen, no one wants any part of that. So your polls, they're all claiming they're buying it. Don't believe it. I believe illegal streaming's through the roof, and I believe internet sycophants are the most likely to fucking just illegally stream the shit, especially when like Netflix isn't an option for them. The YouTube game's weak. People are just watching on YouTube and they're just illegally streaming the shit. And again, way early on the back issues of PWT podcast, Brian, your boy Phil went on these fucking sites. And I think this is before, I think it was just when I was an audio show still. I went on these sites and I looked at what the numbers were doing. Like ROH shows and AEW shows were doing as much as like pay-per-views for WWE, like PLEs for WWE on some of these illegal streaming sites that have the views posted. So, and that was back then too, when people were watching AEW on TV as well. I think overall, I haven't checked in a long ass time. It's been years. So who knows if that's still the case? Someone could look into it for me. I don't know. But there's no way that with 12 pay-per-views, Dave wants us to believe that they're doing 140 buys every fucking show, and each pay-per-view's doing even more buys than the last one, is what he was saying at the tail end of last year. It's what he kept repeating every month, but it's just different people every time. So there's just tons of AEW fans, and the buys would actually be like 500,000 buys, Brian. But it's different people every time. And it's not the more logical, instead of a fucking conspiracy theory, it's not the logical explanation like I would give. And it's like, okay, if you put Dynamite on at 2 a.m., their rating is going to be like 120,000. If you put them on after a basketball game, if you put them on Thursday, if you put them on a different time, late at night, early during the day, early in the morning, whatever, we've seen, because Collision's been moved around, right? And if you're tuning into Collision every week, you're more sicko-lier than regular sickos, obviously, because Dynamite still does better ratings, right? So there's about 125,000, just being generous, sickos that'll tune into Collision any fucking time you put that show on. We've seen it happen a few times. So could it be that those uber sickos, and they're not going to convert all 120,000 of them, but 100,000, I've always said the pay-per-view buys are more like 80, 90,000. Dave conflates them, or inflates them rather, by 30% minimum automatically, based off of quote unquote Amazon. And that's his own words. I've beat that one to death. That's an old talking point. But Dave Meltzer is clearly adding on to these fucking numbers. I think it's more likely if there's just 100,000 diehards, will tune into Collision anytime. I bet you 90,000 of them will buy a fucking pay-per-view. Again, being generous, those are probably the people that'll buy every fucking pay-per-view every time. That's more than likely why the numbers are around 100,000, Dave. If they're even around that. We can't really prove that either, because that's Dave's numbers. So Dave is trying to have everyone believe that like it's people are just like staggering their pay-per-view buys, and like it kind of works out to the same number every time. But really there's like, if everybody bought every pay-per-view, and that's why All In, you'd think, okay, the end of the year pay-per-view, everyone will buy it then. That's the one everyone goes, well, we're not going to skip that. That's the WrestleMania. Then why doesn't that do 250, 300,000, 500,000 buys, Dave? It's so retarded. Anyways, let's let him finish
Done.
this.
I
That's
buy
on our
every
site.
single one.
That's on our site. We're talking about normal people.
So now Dave, goddamn, I can't even get a second through this. So when Dave wants to talk about their polls, our polls, we have the most unbiased polls, unanimously, literally his words. Everybody thought that we got it right this year with the awards. We polled our readers. Our readers are very even keeled and blah, blah, blah. He does that all the time. And he uses that and says that all the fucking time as an argument to prove his points. Bryan is trying to do the same thing, and Dave just shoots it down and cucks him out, dude. Look at this.
One.
That's on our site. We're talking about normal people.
Dude, normal people. Like, do you see? You fucking observe. This is what he thinks. He's telling you what he thinks of you. No, I mean, they're exceptional people. They're fine people. They're great people. They're huge people, Bryan, with huge hands. What are you talking about, man? You're fucking... Ugh, dude, he's such a grifter. It's actually crazy. This is such a telling clip of Dave.
I mean, the numbers are right there. I mean, I was stunned when I first saw...
We're talking about normal people. So I meant rich people, Bryan. Poor people don't like the Observer.
Poor people don't like AEW.
Come on, man. Normal people don't like AEW, Bryan.
But we were tracking it. We were tracking it year after year, and it never, like when it was 4 and it was only 1, it was kind of like the theory, well, maybe it's 4 people and they rotate homes. But when it was 9,
4 people that rotate homes in a day and age where people are less social, people know their neighbors less, they fucking are less involved in community shit, especially in bigger cities, right? You're talking about, and look at this fucking lie smirk on his face. He doesn't even believe the bullshit that's coming out of his mouth.
Tell us
his
what
own
you
mouth.
know, you goddamn liar!
Where piracy is more prevalent than ever, where kids are on social media, where motherfuckers are TikTok brain and brain rotted, where they just fucking scroll and what is it? Retention rate is like the lowest it's been as far as like that's why Netflix just wants to keep you on the Netflix app. YouTube just wants to keep recommending you videos and keeping you on their fucking site. Everything I've written for fucking websites and stuff where they want your articles to be like it, in the middle, you fucking format it where you like link to your other article that has something to do with something topical. And then you click on that and they just want to keep you reading fucking articles and watching little clips and shit like that. That's what everything's about right now. And TikTok, it's all just about instant fucking boom, 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 because we can get you to scroll longer that way than watch a full fucking movie or show on this thing, right? YouTube tries to offer every angle of video consumption. That's why there's movies, TV shows, and reels and fucking everything. They attack it from all angles, and that's why they're the most proficient at it. That's why they have the most, they're the number one streamer and whatnot on top of everything. And so it's all about retention rate and all of this type of shit, right? And we've explained this a bunch, but where was I going with this? What was Dave saying here? I'm going off on a rant.
And it was only one. It was kind of like,
oh yeah. In a day and age of all of that, Dave thinks that fucking, and you can just pull up a pay-per-view with a link on your tablet. And I said this before too. LeBron James is sitting on the sideline of a basketball game and he's fucking illegally streaming the UFC. Or I think Khabib Nurmagomedov was sitting cage side at a UFC event and he pulled up a link to like another fight, to like a Bellator fight or something. What else? Justin Bieber's tweeted out like, hey, where's the link? You mean to tell me these internet sleuths with 2 followers that Tony Khan fucking interacts with and your observer, mostly online, David Bixenspan level fucking slobs on your fucking message boards, you think these people aren't just fucking pirate shipping this shit, Dave Meltzer, and you think that it's just people are rotating homes, people are more recluse now than ever, sickos are called sickos. Who wants a fucking sicko in their house? Yeah, they're just going over to their friend's house like it's the 90s. It's fucking Stranger Things. Let's all bike over to Mikey's house and have a fucking it's Will's turn. He's going to host the game tonight, and we're going to fucking go over to friend's house, and I'll chip in $10 like it was in the fucking 90s. Like, it's not, people don't do that shit anymore, Dave. People don't do that shit. The whole event is uploaded on AEW's YouTube as it happens. A match goes down, they upload it. Same with Dynamite and shit. There's nobody rotating houses to do 4 times the pay to explain your 30% increase of pay-per-view buys that don't exist. You old fuck. I've snapped today. I've lost it.
the theory, well, maybe it's 4 people and they rotate homes. But when it was 9, and it was still generally one, most people bought 1 a year. It tells you that most people buy 1 a year.
It just, I mean,
that most
I'm
of the
sure
people
that's
who buy
what,
a show.
So is he saying most AEW fans buy 1 pay-per-view a year, but they have 12 pay-per-views a year, and the pay-per-view buys are going up and up and up and up? But it's just people rotating in their group of 4. So take the fan base and multiply it by 4, Brian, add 3. And that's actually the real times everything by 30, Brian. And that's actually the math.
This just in, we have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
This doesn't even make fucking sense.
Sure, that's what the number says, but when you think about it, it's like, how could everybody buy on average 1 a year?
Let him talk, Dave. Let him talk. Fuck.
Everybody buy on average 1 a year, yet they always do almost the exact same number of buys.
Because Dave is a fucking liar. Ding, 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 ding. Thank God Brian asked him. So we get this amazing last 20 seconds of this fucking
same
clip.
number of buys.
Usually the low is about 100, and the high is about, depending on the year, 175. Obviously, when Sting retired, or first, it's usually 100 to 175.
175. Oh my God, he's fucking lost it. He's lost it. 1 to 175 times 3 because everyone's rotating, because everyone buys 1 pay-per-view a year. So they do 12 pay-per-views a fucking year, and groups of 4, like fucking Squid Games, they all sectioned off, and they're all just taking turns one by one. 175,000 pay-per-view buys when pay-per-view's the deadest shit of all time. It's deader than it's ever been. It's dead. Dead as a doornail. I've lost it. I don't even believe this is real. I think I'm dreaming right now. I'm fucking passed out in my bed having a fucking dream.
This one will be interesting coming up.
This one will be interesting coming up. Oh my God. And he always says that. This is interesting. It's really interesting because of all of this bullshit I can't fucking explain. Makes it interesting. No, Dave, it makes it aggravating for people who are actually trying to follow this shit. And when you Google anything about wrestling, your bullshit comes up first. It's fucking really annoying. It's really annoying when you call people that, like Eric Bischoff, that people enjoy listening to, you call him a fucking grifter. And then you say dumb shit like that. Or when you go on Twitter and you fucking try and trash people and go, why don't you think before? And you just condescend them and be a giant piece of shit, or you leave things out, you embellish the truth, or you omit things from your fucking reviews. And then you tell everyone to read your shit like it's the Holy Bible. When really you need to repent, Dave, for these fucking sins, man. Oh, boy. So Dave Meltzer talks WWE versus AEW here, and he completely spurgs out even more. I don't know if I'm even going to make it through this. We're almost done here, but it's just, he's honestly boggled my mind. I'm like mentally exhausted from this asshole today. It's crazy, but I do love it. It warms my heart when Dave gets cooked this badly. So Dave really melts down here, sweeps for AEW a little more, but really just starts like burying WWE and saying a bunch of untrue shit and calls WWE fans fucking idiots. This is the greatest WWE meltdown ever. He basically calls them poor, broke, low IQ idiots who don't like art and stuff like that. And it's so
poor
funny.
people don't like AEW.
Because MJF also gave an interview, and a lot of people talk about like, oh, the artistry of pro wrestling. And it's like, well, yeah, dude, at WWE, that's the main focus. Is there's the in-ring action, but there's also the pageantry and doing it at this high mainstream fucking level. And not everyone can do that. Anyone in WWE can go and have a match in AEW that people go, man, it was really good. Anyone can do that. Not everyone in AEW can go to WWE. Not even everyone in WWE on Raw and SmackDown can fucking have a moment or have these like a fucking stare down that people remember, like Hogan Andre or Rock Hogan. And that's why I kicked your leg from your leg. Hogan and Hogan, or Hogan and Hogan, Brett. There's all these fucking infamous moments, even just like a recent one, Drew with the beads and CM Punk. Like, you can't just create that out of thin air. That is just as hard of, that takes just as much talent, and it's hard work to get to those moments, as much hard work as it is to like learn how to do a 630 fucking senton. Now, one might be more physically dangerous, but as far as artistic expression in WWE, there's way more room to fall on your fucking face. You can't just always fall back on, well, I'm gonna go have a banger with Osprey that all the sheets are gonna fucking lick our nuts for and give it 5 stars, even if I stab Takeshita in the head with a screwdriver in front of the ref. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, when there's way more chance you're gonna fall flat on your face with a lot of these creative decisions, right? So everybody loves Shooter Natty. Most people like what they're doing with Maxine to try and legitimize her. They take a risk by doing like a shoot knockout. People are like, this was lame as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Danhausen's crushing it now, the debut. And in hindsight, the debut fits into what he's doing now. And that's why I was optimistic. I didn't bury the debut. I really tried to point out as many positives as I could, because it's like, I get the Danhausen. If you get the character, you're like, you get it, but you also got to be objective, and like, you got to understand why WWE fans are like, what the fuck is this, you know? But now they're coming around on him, and it just goes to show you what I'm saying. So when it comes to this whole fucking the artistry of pro wrestling, and MJF says, "Oh, I'll take more money than the fucking WrestleMania moment." Well, MJF, I think he would get over in WWE, but would he have an iconic moment that stands the test of time? I don't know. That remains to be seen. Not every wrestler who gets super over in WWE has fucking moments that stand the fucking test of time. Not necessarily, you know what I mean? Most of them do, though. And there's an artistry to that. That's part of the expression of pro wrestling, if you will. That's doing it at the highest fucking level. Yes, Taylor Swift isn't the best. She might not be the best singer of all time, but she has songs that will fucking stand the test of time, you know? And so when MJF says shit like that, where are the sickos going? Well, what about the art of wrestling? But to them, it's just shoot moves to each other. Just shoot, like get punched in the head. Necro versus fucking Eddie Kingston in the Indies in front of 12 people. Let's just shoot, have a boxing match, bare knuckle, and then we'll work the finish, you know? Well, if you want to see that, like, I'm sorry, that's not going to work. It's pro fucking wrestling. You got to hit it on all cylinders. And when MJF says shit like, and Swerve's like, yeah, man, the fucking money and all this stuff. I don't care about a WrestleMania moment. I don't care about doing this art at the highest level where it's critiqued the hardest, the strictest, where it has the most eyeballs, where it's going to have the most opinions, where it's truly sink or swim. No, I don't even want to try that, bruv. That's not the grind, bruv. Fuck that. Tone pays us and we can do whatever we want. Well, where's the fucking artistry in that, man? If you guys want to do the hoity-toity, Taylor Swift's not the best singer, go fuck yourself. You know, she just makes the most money. Okay, well, MJF's saying he just makes the most money and doesn't give a fuck. He'd rather just go have matches where he fucking humps a guy's face and flips over the top rope a couple times, pile driver off the second rope, 1, 2, 3, or whatever the fuck. Fujiwara armbar, cheat finish, same match every fucking time. We see it on Dynamite. It's all been done. Mike Bailey and Fletcher did every fucking move there is to do. Ever. They did every move there was to do on this past Wednesday's Dynamite. Just ask Dave. So what is there to fucking watch at the pay-per-view? Like, you know? So I don't like this whole hoity-toity WWE fans are fucking poor, low IQ. There's no artistry in what they do. To accomplish an El Grande Americano and get that over takes way more artistic integrity and talent than just going, yeah, I'm going to fucking cut a promo in front of a chain link fence, and then I'm going to fucking skewer this guy in the main event and dunk him in a fish tank. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. If you don't like that, hey, if your opinion is different on that, hey, I like when they skewer people. Not all deathmatch wrestling. There's artistry to it, sure. But don't fucking cop out and go, oh, well, we just take the money instead of reaching the highest level of artistry in our industry. So you're a sellout. You're a fucking sellout then, you know, or whatever. Maybe it's not a sellout. I think selling out is more like, I fucking hate Pepsi. And then Pepsi Cola like pays you money to be like, I love Pepsi now. It's not just about like, oh, I got paid to do a thing. That's not selling out. It's like more, you know, selling out your soul in a way, like your beliefs and things like that, right? But with that being said, doesn't MJF want to go cut promos at the highest level on the biggest stage? You know good and goddamn well he wants to. And yes, MJF works these interviews, but Swerve is also giving interviews saying the same shit, essentially. And they can brag about all the money they make all they want, but what draws is how good the shit is. And you ain't drawn. You're still rebuilding. And then next month you're a challenger brand. And then next month you're fucking back to rebuilding. And then you're number 2. And then you're fucking the AFL. And then you're, you know, which is it? Are you rebuilding? Are you guys good to go? Are you the challenger brand? Are you closing the gap? Like, which is this feeling restored again this every 3 months? Like, why do we got to do all this shit? It gets annoying. So I just want to say that, I guess, and be an E-drone and kind of defend WWE fans And I hope you guys dig what I'm saying there. I kind of just am going off today. Okay. But Dave Meltzer says, if your goal in wrestling is to make a lot of money and not work or not work it as much, this is the greatest time ever to be a pro wrestler in the United States. So we will get to him shitting on WWE fans, but this is sort of the precursor to that. And he's sort of putting both companies over. And he is right. If you want to get paid a shitload to bitch on Twitter and stooge shit to dirt sheets, now's the time to fucking get into the biz, man.
Or not work much. And this is like the greatest time ever to be a pro wrestler in the United States. Like, not even close. All those guys from like when I was a kid, oh my God, you know what I mean? Free money. They would just be celebrating with this. It is so weird because it's like all of those guys like would, you know.
There was no social media, Dave. Shut the fuck up, you old dinosaur.
Would love this money and even love more the fact they don't even have to work for it in the sense of that many matches.
But meanwhile, in AEW, it's the work rate show and their matches. Look at what Fletcher just had to do for that money for Tone against Bailey. Look at all the shit he had to do. He got fucking dumped on his head again. Now Mike Bailey protected him more than Mox, but he did a fucking second rope suplex, half and half or whatever the fuck, half Nelson suplex or whatever off the middle rope. Y'all saw it. Y'all watched that Mike Bailey match. Look at what they had to do to their bodies to get that, though. So is that true? And then WWE, it ain't like you're flying all over the world, huge crowds, reality shows. There's a camera in your face all the time. You're mainstream again, starting to become more mainstream again. You know, it's tough in different ways, but there's a social aspect, Dave. Again, you're a fucking dinosaur. I know people back then would be I'd be dancing for the money they get to not wrestle. You know? Tone could pay me what he pays one of the fucking I don't even know, one of the Top Flight guys, and I'd probably shut the fuck up. No, I'm joking. I'll do a pro AEW pod from now on. No.
When this actually happens in this generation, we have a generation of people who grew up as wrestling fans, and they want to go out there and wrestle a lot. You know what I mean? Like before, it was like, how do we con these people out of their money? You know, what shortcuts can we do?
And they want to be journalists.
Blah, blah, blah. These people now, they want to go out there and have great matches all the time.
And chat's saying they were alcoholics and on cocaine and shit. And that's true too. Wrestlers are more chill. They play video games now and shit like that.
And it's like they're making way more money than they ever could have made. And I think that generally speaking, they're probably happy with that. But so many of them are mad because they're not getting enough ring time, which is true. I mean, they're not getting
because they're artists. And in WWE, there's not a whole whack of mad people there. Right? People are being utilized. There's not, people are mad. They're not getting, Britt Baker should just be grateful she's getting paid. Okay, but what about the fans? What about everything they invested? What about the personal vendettas that people find gross, Dave? What about when people point out that's not good to just pay people to sit at home and do dick all, especially when they're kind of over? And Dave's like, well, she should be grateful. Okay, but you guys all cry about, and that's why I spurged out and went on a fucking I went on a fucking rant about the artistry, the art of show, the business of show, right? But there's a reason for it. It's like you guys, the sickos and Dave are all like, all the expression, the pro wrestling, like the actual wrestling, real wrestling, like, you know, the wrestling's way better and actually expressing themselves. It's watered down art and all this shit. The people who do that hoity-toity elitist shit, McDonald's isn't the best. It just sells the most. Taylor Swift isn't the best. She's just mainstream. And these sorts of things. But it's like at the end of the day, dude, there's a void they're trying to fill too. They're also entertainers. There's a weird, sick thing. It's in me. It's in people in stand-up comedy, in actors. It's even in Dave. He's just too dumb to recognize it. Pro wrestlers. Dave Chappelle explains it like this. There's like a void in your soul. You have to fill it by performing. And you can only fill it by performing. You know, there's just something there. And that that's a part of pro wrestling too, you dumbass. So yeah, they're complaining. They want ring time. They want to get in front of people. And I know that the people like Ricochet, who's got a match every fucking week, and kudos to him. And I'm not going to sit here and go, Ricochet's a shit wrestler. I never would have said that when he was in the Fed. He's all good. You know, maybe he's doing better character shit than he did do in WWE, whatever. But yeah, you guys get it. I'm going off on the artistry and all of this stuff. You got to keep the same energy. That's all I'm fucking saying. Okay.
Ring time. So it's
They want ring time. For Ricochet, it's all good. He's going to fucking sweep. Swerve's going to sweep. He's getting paid a shitload. And he believes he should only be working only on Dynamites and winning quicker matches on Collision and fucking being on every pay-per-view. Of course. But like, then what about Britt? Then why doesn't he just release Britt Baker then? She's ungrateful. And like, why do you paint that narrative about everybody who want to express their art? I thought it's all about the real wrestling and the art, bruv.
like, things are so much better, yet in another way, it's not optimum.
Optimum Prime. And it's like Will Ospreay embracing the grind. Oh, it's ludicrous, Brian. It is the grind. In AEW, it is a grind. Wrestlers wanted to work less. That's what Dave said then too. But then why are the wrestlers spurging out about, we do embrace the grind, bruv? And now you're like, people want to be on TV? I really don't get it. Yeah, dude, it's all about social media. It's all about parlaying this shit into other stuff and setting yourself up for life and stuff. You got to be on TV. Tone will just pay you to sit at home. Okay, but I'm like a wrestler who trained to take bumps and I miss it, and I'm kind of an actor and I need to express that part of it. Oh, no, that's when the art doesn't matter. Sorry, I'm harping on this too long, but it pisses me off.
People need more time to improve. I mean,
I'm pissed off today.
So it's kind of a weird position.
I'm actually in a good mood.
There's a lot of stagnant wrestlers. There are guys, let's face it, there are guys that are doing 30 matches a year and that are improving. It's not impossible to do it.
30 matches a year, too? Holy fuck, man. Ric Flair's rolling in his grave.
But,
I'm an idiot.
We've also got a lot of guys who don't improve that much.
Ric Flair's rolling in the grave. He's rolling on a bar floor right now. So again, Dave Meltzer talks about the big difference in between WWE and AEW operate their companies. Now I'm going to get pissed off here again, chat. Prepare yourselves.
When I watch the booking, it's just like...
I'm triggered officially today. I'm fucking...
There's a really big difference between the booking of the two companies right now.
No shit, Dave. Oh, tell me about it, Scoob. There's a really big difference in the way that he's just such a prissy bitch, man. There's a really big difference, in the way the companies are booked right now. Yeah, there's always been a difference in the way they're booked.
When I watch the booking, it's just like a really big difference between...
And when you watch the booking, you don't really watch the booking. I guess you see the guy book shit and then you see it play out on TV. But the way he talks about it, like, yeah, you're in the rooms watching the fucking guys write the shit down on their papers. We know that Tone calls Dave from his hotel room right after he writes the matches down.
Two companies right now. And I wouldn't have said that a couple of months ago. I think there was a period where when Paul first, when Vince was out, I remember I had actually been told people, I'm sure I told you, probably the day Vince was out or within, it was the minute.
Okay. Get to the point already, Dave. We don't care about what precise minute or date. Just say, when he left, I fucking said this.
She told people, I'm sure I told you, probably the day Vince was out or within, it was the minute he was out from Creator the first time.
The very second, Dave. Was it the very second? How about the millisecond? Holy, get to the point, Unc.
Tony's I don't say in trouble, but Tony's in trouble now because what happens is you've got this guy with a grudge who just got beat, and now he's got the resources of WWE and all its top stars behind him.
A guy with a grudge who just got beat. So he's saying Trips got beat by AEW round 1. and he's got a grudge, but he's got the resources of Vince, and now Tony's in trouble. What weirdo fucking land does this guy live in where he's coming up with this shit? But I mean, listen, back then, okay, and Dave can say this in hindsight, he might have even said this on his show. Like, oh, Tone's in trouble now. You know, Triple H is coming with a vendetta, and now he's got the resources of WWE. And then somehow he's going to talk about how the booking's different in 26 than it was then, even though it's the same guy booking shit. And it's Cody Rhodes pulling shit. Billy Butty dropped a video, or not even a video, it's like on his podcast feed, where he breaks down. He's like, I have it under good. He used to do the hot news on K100, and he's like, I have it under good authority that Rhodes, like, kind of fucking, WWE did kind of jumble around what they were going to do at WrestleMania, because Rhodes, he fucking, you know, he's in with people, and he, like, people were saying it was a shoot when he pointed at fucking Roman Reigns, and he went into business for himself there, and that he might be doing more of that around this WrestleMania season and whatnot. So go and check that out. But I thought that was really compelling. And I think they're booking things the same way. I think Triple H, I think we're starting to see the effects of like the bloodline and shit wear off a little bit. I think Punk is super over right now. I think Rhodes is super over, but I also think Drew and Jacob Fatu are really over. And you just have, again, earlier in the show, I listed like 6 names. I'm like, you give me those 6 guys, you pull up with 4 of those guys to any show. You have Roman, like, you have all these people that are just larger than life, and
all its top stars.
And Triple H, the bloodline angle was so fucking hot, or the storyline was so hot for so long, that like maybe there's a dip in that, and maybe they don't have a story as hot as that, and maybe some things, and if Billy Butty was right, maybe there's some last minute things even being flipped up that people are like, what the fuck? And it might not be the greatest fucking thing ever, but for Dave to sit here and go, in hindsight, Trips was booking different then too than he is now, like, you don't know, bro. You don't fucking know. You're not in the room. You're not in the goddamn room, and you're going to say Tony's booking everything really hot, but meanwhile, he's just doing 12 crazy matches, and he's not announcing matches, and you were just at the Dynamite, Dave, where there was 9 crazy matches, and then the crowd chanted, this is boring, at the one WWE-ish thing they tried to do, because it's a fucking PWG crowd, bud. Fuck.
Behind him. And the reality is that on a level playing field, WWE is going to kill you, because there's just so much, you know, the prior history and everything like that. And WWE was, as they started with the bloodline thing, they got really, really hot. And, you know, but nothing lasts forever. And now we're at that point where, you know, I mean, you know, WWE's way ahead. AEW's not going to beat them anytime soon.
Boom. One crumb of truth in this whole shit. One crumb of truth. Guys, there's 250 watching on X and YouTube. Hit the like button. Try and run them up to 100.
You know, maybe never. But
YouTube.com/@ProWrestleClips. If you're on X, come on over, click a link.
When I look at the momentum of the two companies, you know, I feel that AEW is the one that's on the rise, and WWE is the one that
AEW's on the fucking rise, man. I cannot believe this shit.
On the decline, very, very slowly. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like, you know, the difference between 11,000 people on Monday and 9,000. It's still good.
It's still good, man. He was just at a 2,500 house. That's a Dynamite. Raw. And Dave is like, the peak's over. They're still doing 10,000 people for Raws and shit. AEW's pay-per-views, Double or Nothing's going to do 10 or 11,000. Okay? Revolution's done 10 to 11,000. Compare these fucking pay-per-views and shit. And he's like, oh, they're slowly on the uprise. So is TNA. Why doesn't he fucking put that over and go, man, they're crushing it and they're the number 3. They're the challenger number 3. He doesn't keep the same fucking energy for anything else when it comes to AEW. Now he's just going to start shitting on E-Drones here. And he talks more about the gap closing. And the gap in his fucking parted hair here. The gap in, I noticed the gap in his Just for Men dye job is fucking, he got a darker color. Soon it'll just be like jet black. He'll start going blue black. Like Chris, what's that guy's name? Chris Angel and all the old like magicians or like the rockers, the rock and roll dudes with the jet blue black or whatever the fuck, right? He's going to start wearing guy liner and shit. I'm emo now, Bryan.
It's always about a wrestling war, right? And like a year ago in wrestling when they were talking like that, I mean, AEW was just momentum wise, man, they had terrible momentum. You know, I mean, even when they put on good stuff, it was like the momentum was so bad and everybody was talking down about him. And it just became this thing of like,
okay, again, this is fucking pure cope over AEW. Dude, I gotta play it. Are you kidding me? Even when everything was up, the momentum was bad and people were fucking hating on them. Yeah, when everything's up for WWE, people hate on it. When people are down, people hate on it. People hate on everything. When there's social media, people are going to hate on fucking everything. Okay? So, like, what does this even mean? Oh, people were hating on it even when it did really good. Buddy, when it did really good, people looked and had to admit it was doing good. You just said it kicked NXT's ass. That was on social media. The reason the E-Drones, the wackos, as I call them, come so hard at the sickos now is because for like 2 or 3 years, they had to fucking deal with mentally insane shit. And then now it's even more mentally insane. It's just whittled down. And then Tone's successfully co-opted some of the main dirt sheets. But in fairness, some people in WWE have done that as well. So
they're dying, right? And now, right now, it's like, you know, all those people are, you know, they're very quiet. You know, it's like all those people that were hounding me about they're gonna die and all this. It's like they're very quiet, you know, other than the ones who want to do the, you know.
When people say die, Dave, they also mean in reputation and whatnot. They also meant like die from the level it's at. Now, I've never been like AEW's going to die. Like, I believe it'll just be like the shows can die. Collision, Rampage died. Collision could die. But to me, it'll always exist. Tone will always keep it around. The only way he wouldn't keep it around is if WWE, this is it, and I promise you this is a reality. If WWE offered to buy AEW and to bring him in and to put Tone on the creative team and have him be a part of WWE and all this shit, he would do it in a heartbeat. That's like his dream fucking job. So that's the only way we'll see like WWE absorb AEW, unless it goes on for like 10 years, but it's at such a low level that Tone decides to sell it or some shit like that. Maybe that could happen too. But the thing is that Tone will keep this alive forever. I think everybody understands that. But as far as like TNA, it died. TNA died and came back to life. ROH is dead. We can all agree. NWA's pretty fucking cooked right now. It's pretty dead compared to what it was way back in the day and compared to what it was even, I would say, in like the YouTube power era. There was a lot of hype around those YouTube shows. And maybe they've fallen off a bit. I get, you know, JCW, there's hype around it. So that's also what people mean when they're saying like it'll die. And when people like Jim Cornette and Eric Bischoff, they're talking out of experience. So Jim Cornette from the wrestling side of things, he's only known like money marks, the territory dies. It's inevitable. And then Eric Bischoff, he knows on the TV end of things, okay, TV shows, if they don't meet X and X, whatever, these deals go down, relationships, blah, 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 it dies. So yes, will AEW exist on MyAEW.com? Yeah, but buddy, how many people are going to sign up for that? Maybe you'll get 100,000. That's dead. That's dead, and it's hemorrhaging money and shit. Now, if everybody were born with the infinite money cheat already fucking put in on their account, we'd all be, yes, I'd spend $1 billion. I would just give money. I would just fucking give people money. You know what I'm saying? But everyone would do it. Some people would hoard it up. That's fine. Everyone's got infinite bucks, so it don't matter. Everything's free now. But that's not the case. And for Tony in his life, everything's free. So yes, it's hemorrhaging money for sure. Not in the green yet, especially from day one. And from day one, everyone was behind the revolution, but then Tone quickly fucked it up. And I think the moment he fucked it up officially is even earlier than we all thought. And a lot of other people have obviously come to this conclusion. But Dave Meltzer said that in 2019 or 2020, he gave a bad review of a Dynamite. Tone called him up and was like, I promise to make better shows for you, Dave. I promise we'll do only good shows. And Dave's like, oh, it's been great ever since. That was the death. That was the right there where Tone felt he had to validate himself to Meltzer. Boom. Company's just going downhill. Period. And he's like, oh, they're slowly catching up. Okay. At the start, they were quickly catching up, and motherfuckers were talking about they're going to beat Raw in the ratings. And the houses were crazy. The attendances were crazy, and the ratings were fucking solid. The ratings were like what SmackDown did last week, or whatever the fuck. So I don't want to hear this bullshit, Dave. No one wants to hear this shit.
Oh, they're, the Paramount thing, now they're going to get canceled because TKO will make them get canceled. And, that's just, they don't even get it, but that's a difference. Again, and that's another story. And in 2027, everything can be different and probably will be. But right now, it's like, you think you got him, like what Eric had in 1997.
Oh,
they're in the dust.
30 years ago.
They're not even competition anymore. We won the war. And then all of a sudden,
there was we won the fucking war. They're in the dust. Okay.
You didn't win the war.
Oh, he's talking on WCW side. Yeah. Like Eric Bischoff did get cocky, but the thing is what it is the backstage bullshit and the TV network drama, which you are discarding that, right? So with Turner and all that shit back then, the way it played out, they got rid of wrestling. So even if they were the most successful shit, they got rid of wrestling. And they got rid of Turner even. You know what I'm saying? Eventually. So Turner, him motherfucking self. So the same thing's happening, Dave. They're in a position now, AEW is, where some out of everyone's control TV shit, where people are friends, the Ellisons are friends, the Ari Emanuel's his advisor, they're all friends, TKO, they're in business with all these guys, they're all sitting front row at UFCs together, eating McDonald's on Donald Trump's private fucking plane with RFK Jr. Okay? They're all buds, guy. And that's out of pro wrestling's control. The same thing that happened to Bischoff. And I don't really understand. Is Dave trying to say that like AEW is WWE and WWE is WCW? They're way ahead, and then they got cocky, and then boom, they just caught them and they're out of business. So is Dave literally trying to say in this example, WWE isn't WWE, but they are WCW and AEW is WWE? I think that's literally what he's saying too. So we can't look over that.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
We can't just gloss over this, okay? I think he's trying to say that WWE's getting cocky and they're way ahead, and then out of nowhere. And also the gap between WCW and WWE was closer. It was more neck and neck. So this is just a completely cooked take right here from Meltzer.
And I think in this one,
and again, we can't just gloss over the fact that you're missing out the key thing. TV shit, networks, people absorbing shit, mergers of companies, friendships in the fucking entertainment industry. They're going to just kick AEW off the same way WCW just got kicked off, the same way ECW got used as like a placeholder for WWF. And then they got kicked to the fucking curb. They were always going to. on TNN or whatever the fuck back in the day. That's what it is. So the same shit, the same thing happened at TNA, where it was like all of a sudden we're fucking Billy Corgan gives us $2 million. We're able to do TV now. We're on Pop all of a sudden. Now we're fucking over here, Destination America. The same way the ratings were fucking, and I mean companies I don't think merged and shit, but the ratings were cooked. So you factor in all these things, the TV shit behind the scenes, the ratings being cooked, Tony Khan calling people bald assholes and Harvey Weinsteins and shit. And Tony Khan goes, oh, they're the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. So now you're excited. Now Tone's like, I'm excited to be in business with Paramount. So you're excited to be in business with people in business with the Harvey Weinsteins of fucking pro wrestling and shit. Like, it's just all the shit he talked is going to backfire. And this goes to greater than just pro wrestling. And Dave never factors that in because he's in a fucking bubble.
It's like, I mean, they're way ahead, but you know, the gap is closing, and even though they're still way ahead, the other guys are coming up. You know what I mean? And you know, and all the tricks when they started coming up.
Whoop that trick, all the tricks. It's not booking. It's not good booking or storytelling. All the tricks, because they're dirty trick swindlers, Bryan. That's Dave.
You know,
what an epic meltdown.
And all the tricks when they started coming up, or even before they started coming up, to put them in the dust, putting those head-to-head shows, every time it backfired. AEW.
Oh my God, dude. Did more people talk about Hangman Mox, or did more people talk about Goldberg and the fact, oh, how dare they cut his thing off? And then it just went viral on YouTube. And that was intentional because they're just controlling the fucking algorithm and the narrative and the trends and the Google trends that Dave doesn't look at unless he's talking about UFC for some reason, but he won't dare look at it when it comes to AEW because it disproves all of his pay-per-view bullshit. It's so fucking funny, man. How many people were at that Goldberg final match? What house did they do? And then All in Texas was head-to-head, right? And then Thurston comes out and they papered the house so greatly, it was like 18,000 people were there. So what did Goldberg do for his final match? Was it one of those 16,000? What was the attendance for Goldberg versus Gunther WWE? And I'm going by Thirsty Thurston. So just under 12,000 in Atlanta is what they're saying. But is that from Meltzer? Who knows? But yeah, let's say they did 12,000. So their WrestleMania did like 18,000. If you take away the seats that were papered, you know, the tickets that were fucking handed out according to Thurston and shit. I don't know, man.
You always did a good number, and they always did a lower than usual number every single time. And, you know,
how did it damage them in any, like, how did WWE lose? He's like, oh, they did a lower number. Prove that. Did you see the international numbers for all the PLEs, Dave? That came out, that were officially released?
AEW always did a good number, and they always did a lower than usual number every single time. And, you know, all of a sudden it's like the big, you know, it's
WrestlePalooza. Wasn't that like one of the most successful? God damn, I wish I still had that chart bookmarked, but I think Evolution was the worst, and then WrestlePalooza was like one of the bigger events. Royal Rumble beat WrestleMania and shit like that. So WrestlePalooza went head-to-head. Dave's like, oh, they did a lower number every single time. The fuck are you talking about?
All those things, I think, you know, way into.
And it's all just invisible shit that he makes up. Nobody, not even Tone, agrees with this shit. He doesn't even back it up. So, Dave Meltzer goes on to talk about the problem with WWE's audience. And this is the problem, man. He says shit like this and then dumb fucks. Because Dave, this is the problem with Dave, right? He's a dumb fuck who thinks he's smarter than everyone else. And everyone's like, dude, you're a real dumb fuck. And then he like can't comprehend it because he's like real dumb. and he gets like retard angry whenever somebody points this shit out or proves any of his points wrong. And that's where you get this epic meltdown from this week and rants like this, where it's always some conspiracy theory like, oh yeah, they built an audience of NPCs and bots is essentially what he's fucking saying. And everybody throws this shit around all the fucking time. And, you know, he's sitting here like WWE built an audience of fucking people who know nothing about business and they're running a business. Meanwhile, the cope has been, why do we care about the business? Who cares about, oh, what are you guys sweeping for the corporate, blah, 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 all this shit all the time. Capitalism. Oh, you guys cheered for being a part of the largest attendance. That's what everybody has to listen to all the fucking time. Meanwhile, Tony Khan gets the crowd to chant pay-per-view at him. No one says shit. Meanwhile, Tony Khan goes to fucking Australia, gouges the fans. No one says shit. And then he has to free upgrade all these fucking tickets because they don't sell any of the fucking tickets. Right? And Dave is like, their fans just in general don't know anything about business. So green shirt guy doesn't know anything about business. He's like the richest man alive. You have the fucking Trinidad Tobago shirt guy as well. Right? That's a Trinidad flag, right? I believe. Pardon me if I got that wrong, but you have the flag guy. I mean, he's got to come from some fucking type of money, no? And it's just funny when WWE, it's a public company where you have fans who are literally like they own stocks and shit. They buy into TKO and whatnot. But these people don't know anything about business. Meanwhile, it's the largest operation going on. ESPN did a study, and again, I'm not trying to fucking be an e-drone here, and I don't even know if I believe this, but we covered it on PWT Live, man. ESPN did a study where WWE fans have a higher IQ on average than fucking every other sport. Which, who knows if that's true? I mean, that could be bullshit, but it's just the fact that, like, Dave will claim shit
poor
like,
people don't like AEW.
and WWE fans are just low IQ, and the fan base goes, fuck a casual. And then meanwhile, you have MJF and Excalibur out there doing interviews going, man, if you just give this a chance. You have poor Tekla out there going, hey, if you've never seen AEW, oh man, we're doing cheap tickets there. You get one free if you're a student, and then everyone else gets them for $10. Every other ticket you buy is $10. They're trying to lure casuals in now. So what are casual wrestling fans? They're probably casual WWE fans too. There's no just like, I'm a casual of wrestling other than WWE. There are some of them, but like none in comparison to how many fucking wrestling fans in general there are. I'd say that's probably a pretty low fucking number. And so now they're trying to appeal to casuals. Okay. And then you go online. Let's say you are a casual. And then you see these fucking fans. Let's say you're Kat Dennings. Even celebrities have tried this shit. And let's say you're like, dude, I love WWE. And then a bunch of sickos jump all over you. They go, fuck a casual. This isn't for casuals. They spent the last 6-7 years, 6-7, gatekeeping fucking casuals in AEW. Google it. You guys remember the Google it era? Just Google it. Fucking casuals. Who cares? It's not our job to educate you fucking casuals. Guys, years of that shit. Now they're begging for the casuals. Now we're the cheap company with $10 tickets, guys. Try and bring your friends. Show them a good time. So you want the fucking casuals. Then you go online and you see, so you go online, you see all that. Then you go online, you look up a journalist. Well, what do they say about AEW? What do they say? I like WWE. Let me try this AEW thing out. And then you have Dave Dummy fucking Meltzer.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Calling you a retard. Calling you a poor retard.
You know, poor people don't like AEW.
Oh, they don't know anything about business. The tickets are fucking $7,000 a ticket. Who has money like that? I'm assuming people good at business because I don't got fucking money like that to just go grab a fucking $10,000 ticket and flight and all this shit to go to fucking WrestleMania, hotel and all this shit. Who's got money like that if you're not in the fucking media? People fucking taking loans, spending life savings, and people with fucking money who are probably pretty good at business. I know you like to think all those rappers, Brian, aren't good
he
at
had that
business.
Cuervo with him the whole time too.
I know you don't think Cuervo and Offset are fucking good at business, bud. But who do you think are like, who's in the crowd? Yeah, those Netflix executives sitting front row. They're real bad at business. Imagine you're a casual and you got MJF going, man, just check us out. I swear, if you watch this show, it would be great if you've never given AEW a chance. Then you go on the internet and this dumb fuck is saying shit like this. And Tony's calling this guy on the phone. Yeah, let's go back that company, guys. It's fucking mental and it's ass backwards. Let's hear what Dave has to say.
The problem
about
is
WWE fans.
they built an audience that knows nothing about business, and they're running a business. You know,
So I thought it was all about the wrestling. So is it about the business, Dave, or is it about the wrestling?
no, I mean that's essentially the problem. Is they built an audience that wants what they want from an emotional standpoint of we're tired of this, even if it's working, we're tired of this. Even even though like if you go to the arena, those fans aren't tired of it, but whatever. It's like,
What the fuck? Even if you go to the arena, Raw, 15,000 people, Double or Nothing, 11,000 people, or fucking Revolution, 11,000 people for their fucking pay-per-view. Oh, well, those fans. So the larger sample size of people who can afford these super expensive tickets and they're going crazy for the shit. So just like regular fucking people, like Dave said earlier, normal people. Oh, but they don't know shit about business and they're running a business. Okay, that doesn't mean, again, you guys want to go, but McDonald's. All right, well, the majority of people who fucking eat McDonald's don't know shit about running a fucking fast food restaurant. Like, what are these weird, dumbass, fucking stupid, idiotic comparisons you're always bringing up, Dave? And you're always trying to just like attribute things to people that don't fit. And you're projecting, again, this is another projection because the Observer's been 50% off for a year and 3 months now. So
they're in a bad situation essentially right now. They're kind of like where AEW was a year ago.
WWE's in a bad situation. I'm so triggered. Do you guys, how are they in a bad situation? Dave, you're going to Vegas to grift off their incredible WrestleMania situation they set up for you, where people are going to pay you to hang out with you and watch their fucking show with you. How bad of a situation is that, Dave?
In the sense that no matter what they do, everyone is saying it's wrong and picking it apart. And in this case, that's the thing with WWE. It's like everyone is trying to pick everything apart, and it leads to a snowball thing.
Everyone's always picked everything apart. That's what social media is. They're all just picking everything apart. So that's what they did to AEW. You guys just go bullies whenever it happens to you guys. On the WWE side, a bunch of wackos, intense accounts have spawned off who go hard as fuck on AEW, and that's because it's a reaction. Ebbs and flows. It's Batman Begins, right? It ends with the Joker card. You start wearing a cape and running around with a fucking mask on, and you get lunatics painting themselves up like fucking clowns and doing the most. Huh. Sounds familiar.
And with AEW though, it was because of whatever, it was hurting their business a lot. With WWE, I don't sense it hurting the business. But ratings.
Okay, fair.
Are actually, ratings are actually up.
Yeah.
For Raw and SmackDown, and the only thing that everyone points to is Mania, and like I said, the Mania thing.
Yeah, that you point to, that the dirt sheets are pointing to, that people who say they hate the Fed are pointing to, that people who go AEW's good, man, and WWE slop. Okay, then just don't talk about WWE. Fuck off. Why do you care then? Peace. Who are you trying to convince? Look at other fucking numbers they're doing right now. So, all right. Oh man, it's 40,000 only both nights. Okay. They shouldn't have held it in Vegas again, you know? And Dave is the one who's been like, oh, the tourism, everything's down, everything's shite. He's holding a fucking weekend-long convention where you can do karaoke with him and fucking watch the WrestleManias with him and charging tickets. Holy.
That's an aberration. You can't control traveling to the United States. And look, we know they overprice tickets, and the hotels are too high because of them booking.
In Vegas, they're lowering all the hotel prices as well, not for Mania, but just in general. There's even a hotel that's accepting Canadian currency where they'll convert it after, so they're taking a bit of a hit, you know, but they're accepting like, yeah, the room's $100. You pay 100 Canadian and they'll take that or whatever. So Vegas is just, the tourism there is down. Dave was right about that before when he spoke on it prior, but it's so funny. He's there doing a fucking convention himself and gouging people even more. And right now, the WWE tickets as of today are in the like $170 range, I think, on like the low end to try and fill it up. So everyone knows that they're going to get cheaper the day of. And that's with all of these events. But at the same time, if they had have held it in New Orleans, would people have been more excited and trying to get there? Maybe. Has WWE creative been as good as fucking the peak of the bloodline and shit just a couple years ago or a year ago even? No, like even, you know, I've shit on the Rhodes, Orton, Drew, Fatu situation, you know, like I don't necessarily like how they got there. I think there's more they could have done, but that involves storytelling and shit, not just, hey, let's do flips and land on fiery tables and I'll exploding super kick you with a barbed wire exploding boot and you can pull a pigeon out of my ass and throw a cake in my face and slap me with a fucking pork chop, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going off. I've lost my mind, chat. You guys can probably I've lost my fucking mind this episode of DMDMW, dude. Dave is just, he's losing it, man.
It's that big
now I'm spiraling.
Media convention. So there's a lot of reasons why.
A lot of reasons why my bullshit isn't bullshit. There's a lot of reasons why these are a bunch of dumb fucks who I hate and fuck them. And I fucking hate WWE fans and fuck these guys and fuck WrestleMania. But come to my convention and come sing karaoke with me and support my grift. You fucking old bitch. Okay, so Dave talks about and Bryan talk about is it poor creative or high ticket prices the reason WrestleMania ticket sales have stalled? It's 40,000 both nights. Over 40,000 both nights. This is like, we gotta get over this. This is such a dumb, shitty talking point.
Alexandra.
And then the blackouts as well aren't as intense. And even Dave's doing a watch party. So Dave and all these fucking sheets are like, oh, but the blackouts, they're blacking people out and all this shit. And even I covered it. I'm like, that's bullshit if they're doing it. People are like, well, they used to do it. And then you had motherfuckers defending it. Well, they used to do that all the time. Okay, but they shouldn't. And then now it seems like they're not even really like certain locations, but like where's Dave Meltzer having his in his fucking hotel room? In the fucking honeymoon suite?
Williams posted Wednesday. She has been promoted to vice president as well as lead writer of Raw. We've got a creative shakeup on Raw and SmackDown. And it was hinted to me that it's possible there is more to come. There were a lot of things that were supposed to happen.
Yeah, so Billy Bobby, again, he was talking about how Road Dogg, like him, he had some ideas, I guess, that were involved in or were implemented, rather. He was involved heavily, is what I'm trying to say, but I'm redacted after this episode of DMDMW. He was involved in like the whole Drew Rhodes title, all of these things. And then I guess they like switched it up. And I don't know. I think Dave was like, oh, it was a employee review report and he quit. But Billy Bobby said that him quitting had something to do with that. Like WWE kind of switching plans up last second with the Elimination Chamber and all of that, sort of choosing to go with Orton and Rhodes last second. However, the thing is like they've been kind of teasing it for a year. and that's the marquee match. So shout out Billy Butty, though. He's saying that he has sources, and he's like, I'm very reputable when I say these things. People fucking hate the dude. I don't know. I find his there's a reason he was on K100, you know, dropping the hot news. Because, you know, there was like a stretch there where he was super accurate in, like, he knew what the whole fucking WrestleMania was before, you know, WrestleMania went down and shit. And then he just started getting tons of hate. He got in that fight with Sapp in public at like SummerSlam or some shit, you know? And then he kind of just went off and he does like an audio show. And I think it's like mostly behind a paywall, but sometimes he'll release a free episode and just drop some gems. And I don't know, I'm just plugging his shit away, but go and check it out. Cause he actually kind of speculated on all this stuff and was like, no, Dave Meltzer's wrong. And all these motherfuckers are wrong. And it's like, all right, I'm down. Let's hear what you're saying. So apparently, yeah, they are mixing things up in creative a bit. Like Road Dogg was a bit of like butting heads creatively, according to Billy Butty. So maybe that's a part of it. Who knows?
That as a result of injuries or whatever, they're not happening. But with that said, even on top of that, has creative been great? No. Do I think that we could use maybe a creative shakeup? Sure. Do I think that has anything to do with WrestleMania stuck at 36,000? No! They're stuck at 36,000 because the show's too expensive. We don't have a lineup. You know, there was
what the fuck? They're stuck at 36,000. Bry, you better fucking watch your P's and Q's. So this was about a week ago. And he said this, how many tickets has WrestleMania 42 sold? Hold on a second, because over a week ago, I thought it was more than that. Whatever. $177 for tickets right now. Yeah, it says 36 to 37K per night. They're set up for 43K. Okay, if they are stuck at the 36, I'll give Bry that. But I was about to say, hold your goddamn horses, buddy.
Poured out, and there was going to be a WrestleMania card shakeup as a result of ticket sales being slow. And he pointed out, which is correct, how does a card that nobody knows have anything to do with how many tickets have been sold? We don't know what their proposed card was.
Well, because if they don't announce who's going to fucking wrestle and stuff. But I get what Bry's saying. He's trying to keep dirt sheets true and honest, I guess, a little bit.
They've changed whatever the lineup was for WrestleMania. Maybe we would have liked the other one better. Nobody knows because we don't know what the card was. So the idea that you're changing, I just punched the mic violently. The idea that you're changing a card that nobody knows because you think the card that nobody knows is why no one's buying tickets. This is a classic example of there is an obvious problem, but let's look at every other thing and change.
Yeah,
things
they're literally breaking down the graphics. You guys see these fucking dirt sheet reports of like, oh, they were planning on going in a classy direction with the original promo, and now they're struggling with graphics, and they keep switching the graphics and the promo. They wanted to go with a classy thing, but then they switched it up to a. It's just like, guys, you're nitpicking so fucking hard. Now again, with AEW, it's always, well, why do you care what the ratings are? I don't give a fuck how much money they make, blah. Right? Why do you care what the ratings are? Why do you care what the attendance is? Me. And then with WWE, it's just like, oh my God, man, can you believe they're only doing 40,000 both nights? After they give away a couple thousand tickets for each night, they're only doing 40,000. Can you believe it? Oh my God. Can you believe only 40,000 both nights? Tony Khan is like, oh my God. Tony Khan's giving away like fucking 5,000 tickets for their WrestleMania show. Like, focus on that. Focus on that, dude. Shut the fuck up. Stand your shit. Tell Tone to get merch going for the wrestlers. Back them up. But the problem is nobody actually gives a fuck. As long as we get our flips, man. As long as we get our fucking graps. Did you have a banger, man? It's a fucking banger, dude. It's real graps. He really hit him. Oh, my God, man. Okay, if that's what you guys want, that's totally cool. That's fine. I like it from time to time. Hey, I even said I like Fletcher and Mike Bailey. I like the match. It went a little fucking too long. Too many false finishes, like 4 too many false finishes, but I like the match. I like that shit. But come on, man. We're talking about 40,000 almost both nights. Compared to fucking Double or Nothing. We'll be lucky if there's 12,000 people there. That's like supposed to be their SummerSlam, right? SmackDown does that. So it's just unfortunate that WWE gets nitpicked in this way when it takes away from the real conversations of like, was it the right move to fucking put Rhodes in this position before Mania and all of these things?
Thing to do maybe with.
But Bry does have a point. I'll give Trine Bryan a point there for they didn't know the card. He's right about that.
Problem, and go from there. Hey, maybe I'd love creative to be better. I'd love creative to be better everywhere.
Yeah, same.
But I don't think that's the solution to the problem they're facing, which is that no one's buying tickets for WrestleMania this year.
Nobody's buying tickets for WrestleMania this year. But you just said that they sold 36,000 for both nights, Bry. So what do you mean? What do you mean nobody's buying tickets? It's just crazy. It's craziness. And this is the problem when Dave's like, oh, everyone said AEW would die. And then they get all triggered by that. And then they say things. Then they'll turn around and say things like, nobody's buying tickets. Okay, but 36,000 bought tickets. You just said. Both nights. Could you imagine if TNA did 2 nights in a row, 36,000 people at both shows? Or could you imagine if, ready? AEW did 36,000 2 nights in a fucking row, how Dave would react.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
How Brian would fucking react.
Brian.
It's nutty, man.
Alex-
This is like super nutty shit that we're dealing with here. So Dave Meltzer he gives his thoughts about WrestleMania here.
Everyone knows the key to the card, and we know we do know a lot of stuff, but not as much as most years, because it's clear that a lot of this has just been not fully developed, and they changed and things like that. And there is a lot more second guessing. It's a weird thing.
I don't think it's second guessing, but I think there's injuries mixed with, okay, we got to sell these last minute fucking tickets. And Road Dogg had his, he was kind of pitching ideas that had to do with the WWE title, and we got rid of it. And like, I'm going to be blunt. I'm not going to be an E-drone here. I'm going to be blunt. Road Dogg off the fucking creative team after we saw the way he gets all emotional and shit in Unreal. And not that you shouldn't be passionate and emotional and things like that and go to bat for your friends and stuff. But like, that's hard to deal with in a creative environment, man. That's fucking tough. And if he's like the lead guy on SmackDown, yeah, he gets his ass out of there. I don't know if it's second guessing more than it's just like, okay, we're going to abandon this 3-way or 4-way. I maintain they were going to build towards some sort of 3-way or 4-way or something like that, or a guest ref or something. Maybe not that. I keep saying guest ref because that's the attitude era in me where I'm like, fucking throw a guest ref in there, fucking he hit someone with a chair at the end. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they sort of last minute went with Rhodes Orton, and I don't know if that's a second guess. Like, we're second guessing ourselves creatively. Maybe it's a bit of that, but again, man, Dave is going to be over dramatic here.
Everyone says we don't listen to social media, but every single person does, and if you use it constructively, it's good. But you do like I will read stuff about Paul, and in social media, and he's doing this terrible
about Paul Levesque
job, and it's like, he's not. Business is good. There is something missing. Don't get me wrong, and it isn't what it was a year ago. There's no doubt, and it's hard to stay at that level, but it's not bad. It's just there, and it is a little bit of cookie cutter and everything like that. There's no doubt. But it's like you kind of have a direction, and then
it's just there.
Start, doing that, and then you have the thing.
And then you start, doing that, and then you have the thing that. What the fuck you talking about?
No doubt, but it's like you kind of have a direction, and then you start, doing that, and then you have the thing. You just see the whole thing happening. Between
What?
going from appearing in front of people. And you know what I mean? It's just like more and more isolated. It's a really
What the fuck is he talking about? Appearing in front of people, and then it's more and more isolated. Who, what, where, when, how? Who are you talking about?
fascinating, not in a good way. It's a really fascinating thing to watch kind of happen. It's kind of like as you go down and then you kind of lose your confidence and then you start second guessing.
Who, like, he's sitting there acting like Triple H called him and was like, Dave, I'm second guessing myself. It's not time. Game over. No, that's more Miro, I guess. But it's like, what do you mean? How do you know he's second guessing? How do you know anyone's doubting themselves? How do you not know if Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed fucked up whatever plan they had, and now Logan Paul's got a team with Austin Theory or whatever, and now it's like Paul versus Seth Rollins or some shit at Mania? Like, how do you know any of that? That injuries didn't play a factor. He's just make-believing a bunch of shit and attributing it. It's so cooked. So Dave Meltzer says business is great, but they're booking and reacting like people are injured or like they want to sell these last handful of fucking tickets. They're booking like they're really worried that it's just going to go out of business like WCW in 97 where they were hot and then they were not, Brian. Fuck.
Business is great, as we all know, but they are booking and reacting like business is, struggling, I would say, and I think it's the WrestleMania advance is the one that everyone points to, which has nothing to do with the booking and everything to do with things that are both in their control as far as prices and out of their control as far as, our country and Canadians and Europeans not really thrilled to come and going back to Vegas 2 straight years and all the things that, it's not the booking because these tickets were slow before we had any booking.
Mm-hmm.
They were 20% or 18% behind last year with nothing known other than Punk and Roman, which is not a bad match to, out there. But, like this.
Dave saying all of that and then going, come to my convention, buy a ticket, Brian. Come hang out with me and have a watch party with me. And hopefully they don't black us out. It's a blackout party. Wear your white clothing.
This year, we're
going to have black lights and Moxley's going to bleed all over everyone.
We don't know, but there's no indication whatsoever that Dwayne's going to be on it. Last year, even though Dwayne wasn't on it, everyone believed he would be.
Why
right?
does it call him fucking Dwayne?
So that hurts too. But, there's all the reasons, but it's not like the matchmaking because, but like I said, they're second guessing themselves. They're changing things.
So if it's not the booking and it's not the card and all this shit, like, okay, then what do they have to second guess and what do they have to change? And maybe, I don't know, maybe they are, maybe they're like, we thought this would have blown up, but I think blown up like last year. Like we'll do record fucking setting gates and shit like the year before. Maybe they thought that, but how do you anticipate sort of like the climate of what Dave said? All of those things he said before. Internationally, people don't want to travel here. Even Americans don't really want to. Shit's expensive. Vegas is lowering their prices on hotels and shit because even they realize shit's out of hand there. So.
And when you do that, you're gonna if you're second guessing.
Is it really flip-flopping and changing all this shit? Maybe. It seems like it with the road stuff, but other people will argue till they're blue in the face. No, that was the plan the whole time, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yourself. And your choice is Randy Orton and Jacob Fatu. You're not going to go with the risk. You're going to go with the one that's stable, and that's Randy Orton, the established guy. So I think that's kind of what happened there.
And also, here's the other thing we don't know about these pivots. How do we not know if Orton was like, listen, this is my last Mania, or like I got this one, then the next one, and I'm done. Orton's got like 2-3 Manias. I've been saying this for a while, all year, all leading up. If you want to talk about like WWE years, Mania to Mania, I've been talking about fucking Orton's got 2 or 3. So we don't know if he was like, Trips, this is it for me too, bud, or something along. Who fucking knows? Lex, do you know? I don't know.
I don't know.
Me neither, but that could have caused an adjustment as well, possibly. So I don't know if it's all as doom and gloom as Dave. If it was so doom and gloom, Dave, why are you there grifting off people hosting a watch party? Interesting. We have one more. And sorry, dude. Yeah, sorry. I fucking Sauce. I did not see this. Member for 19 months. Yeah, this is a long ad, like an hour ago. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Phil, Dave Does Dynamite is the sequel to Debbie Does Dallas. Yeah, well, that's why I went with the title, Dave Does Dynamite. Are you streaming AAA on Saturday and AEW on Sunday? All hail the Fluminati. I don't know. I don't know, guys. You got to tell me what you want. Maybe I'll do. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I want to really, really put up polls on YouTube and maybe X and shit. You guys can vote. In our polls, Brian, 30% of you will vote. So if you got, because I did a poll on Wednesday and 80% of everyone watching on YouTube was like, we're not watching AEW Revolution this weekend. Like, we're planning on not watching it. So it's like, I could just go Saturday and do the AAA show and do like a little Revolution preview or whatever. It's up to you guys. Let me know what you want. And, yeah, I'm sorry for I love you, Quad Fathers. Quad Fatherly. Lex usually has the inside scoop. Every time he does the Lex thing, I piss myself, even though I know it's it's the setup is just a mile away. Not everybody wants to win belts being a okay, let's get into this this is going long here. We're over 3 hours into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Meltzer gives his thoughts on the controversy, and I wanted to end it with something kind of fun because I guess it's like Hamburguesa. He fucking and it kind of is off topic from everything else that sort of shared a theme throughout this evening's show. But Hamburguesa, Nino Hamburguesa, he got fucking released by WWE, fired him. They own whatever in AAA. AAA released him. This is Dave Meltzer's thoughts on that, and Hamburguesa fucking drop some elbows if you smell what Hamburguesa's cooking. Hopefully not a smash burger. Smash burger? More like trash burger. Am I right, guys? I'm not a smash burger guy. People smash them so thin, too. What the fuck? Anyways, Hamburguesa likes a good fucking Whopper with cheese, double Whopper with cheese. He's a big boy, right? And so he was slapping his meat, all over this fan, dropping elbows on him. Here's Dave Meltzer and Brian's reaction.
Nina Hamburguesa was fired from AAA after an incident where apparently he went after a fan.
I was told that he slipped and a fan laughed at him. He sat on the fan's lap and he threw some elbows backwards. He didn't hurt the guy. The old days, it was like, when a fan hit the ring, it was like, okay, we have license to beat the hell out of you.
That's still how it is now, Dave. People just don't do that out of risk of like, I'm on Netflix now. And it's still free reign though. If a fan hit the ring and your favorite wrestler fucking clocked him dead in the jaw and KO'd him, no one would have a problem with it.
And a lot of wrestlers relished that. There were guys who were like, if those fans would want to hit the ring, it's like, I got licensed now to beat up the fan. And, a lot of wrestlers back then had tough guy mentalities and they were street fighters and things like that. And they relished that. AAA.
And now the closest thing to a wrestling street fighter we got on Dave's side is Kenny Omega. That's a fucking... But now, I mean, like street fight. I mean, not like Kenny Omega.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. There have been.
Meanwhile, Rhodes and Roman are in the fucking movie.
A lot more lax in the past. WWE now owns them, and they're not going to put up with that. Even though he didn't mean to hurt the guy, but I think maybe he meant to scare the guy. I'm not sure what he wanted. I really don't even know. He just sat on the guy's lap and threw these elbows that weren't particularly hard. But yeah, WWE saw it and it got some play. It was It took place 8 days ago in Pachuca, and on Friday, the talent was all told that he had been fired, and it was to tell them essentially that no matter what happens, don't get into it with fans, don't touch fans, and it's not going to be one of those things where you may be fined if you're a big star. You'll just get away with it. You will be fired immediately for doing this. So it was kind of like a lesson.
Yeah. I mean, it's a liability, Dave. So there's Dave's take on that. And never forget Dave Meltzer facing you coming soon. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. And of course, facing you, coming to a theater near you. It's past its peak. I don't know what to tell you. Dave's past his peak, Bryan. And round of applause for everybody for being here. Appreciate you all. Be good to yourselves and each other. Don't forget to hit the like button and put flutes in the chat. I've been Phil S. Marks, and this was Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Until next time.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a US
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God! It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, he's not a loser.